Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. You got Chip and Zay right here on an Overreaction Monday. Zay, lots to get into today. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Rivalry week is here. Bittersweet because we always talk about it, my friend. This football season, we wait so long for it to get here. When it gets here, it just flies, man. It flies by. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but hey, Texas has a grand opportunity to make things fun and interesting, and I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you, Chip and Zay, Texas Sports Unfiltered, Monday. Feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Feeling good. Feeling good. We got a chance to hear from Steve Sarkisian, the players. It's a condensed week, obviously, because we are on the air today and tomorrow. We are off the air Wednesday and Thursday for Thanksgiving, and then we are on the air Friday. Now, Zay and I will be a little bit earlier on Friday than normal. We will be from 11 to 1 on Friday so that we can get ready for the big game and the pregame show that we'll have here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. So just a couple of notes there. We'll be 2 to 4 today and tomorrow. We'll be off Wednesday and Thursday, and then 11 to 1 on Friday. Zay, Texas got into a shootout with Arkansas and put up a Texas SEC high of 52 points. Arch Manning went Air Manning, but he also went Hands Manning, and he also went Legs Manning. Becomes the first Texas player in the history of this illustrious program to throw, run, and catch a touchdown in a single game. He accounted for 6 total touchdowns. 4 passing, 1 running, 1 receiving on a pass that was a little high from his roommate, Parker Livingston. So high that it was up in the sun. Arch had to use his basketball hops to go up and get it. But Arch comes down with it. Arch said after the game, "Oh, man, I've thrown him so many bad balls. He probably owed me one." He said, "But it's all good." I mean, this is a different Arch Manning we're seeing, Zay.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's crazy how far he's come since that Ohio State game and since the game versus UTEP where he had 10 straight incompletions and he just looked shook, from the pressure, from all the outside talk and the expectations to just playing football and his mechanics being completely off and his fundamentals that he's been taught since he was basically in pull-ups have just gone out of the drain and down the drain, And you wonder, man, is he ever going to get past this? Like, did we put too much on him to where, it's just sometimes it's too much for someone. And he just kept on fighting, took a lot of hits this year, which that's probably the most impressive thing that I've seen with him. If anybody asks me about what do you remember about Arch Manning's season 10, 15 years from now, that first year where he was the starter, I'm going to talk about how tough he is because the guy is a warrior. He keeps getting up, hasn't missed a rep of practice, even though he's got bruises and whatnot. And we know how this offensive line's been here in 2025, but again, he just gets better each and every week. And I get it. No sacks against Arkansas this past weekend. You're going to think, oh, the offensive line, they were great. They were all right. They were all right. A lot of it was because 16 was making plays. Like 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Moore had 3. 2 of them was because Arch Manning is just avoiding a nasty pocket. White jerseys all around him, biting at his ankles. There was one play where he got completely turned around, where he had to look back and then turn right back around in the red zone to keep his eyes down the field and hit DeAndre Moore for his 2nd touchdown of the day. So, again, just where he's came from to where he is now. You talk about the development. We've been on these coaches hard, but we came beyond A.J. Milwee or Sark from Arch's development. That's been money. And I'm sure he's done the work from film study to whatever advice that he actually takes, because we know everybody and their mama try to give Arch advice. It don't mean you got to listen to every damn body. So, yeah, like Texas fans, they should be proud of what Arch Manning has done. And it sucks that other position groups have regressed when he's gotten better and better each and every week.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting today. Steve Sarkisian said, because the defense, which hadn't given up 30 points through the first 7 games, has now given up 30 points, more than 30 points in each of the last 4. And Steve Sarkisian said, we got guys on defense trying to make plays instead of doing their job. And he said, it might have been born out of the fact that the offense was underperforming. In the Kentucky game, obviously the offense set a Steve Sarkisian low of 179 total yards of offense and just 8 first downs in that 16-13 overtime win. That was, all defense. Of course, Michael Taft gets hurt in that game. And then, the defense starts giving up. And look, they played good offenses. I mean, Jeff Levy's offense, Mississippi State, one of the best in the SEC, then Vanderbilt, then Georgia, and then Arkansas. Arkansas has been putting up points. But the coverage busts and the explosive plays. Listen to this, Zay. Texas gave up 15 explosive plays against Arkansas, 10 passing, 10. That means passes of 15 yards or more, and 5 runs. The explosive run plays are runs of 10 yards or more. They gave up 15 of those against Arkansas. They gave up 9 against Georgia. They gave up 16 against Vanderbilt and 15 against Mississippi State. So, and the ones against Mississippi State, there was a 33-yarder in there, a 62-yarder. That was that little shovel pass that turned into a catch and run 62-yard touchdown. But, I mean, Vanderbilt had a 67-yard touchdown on a busted play. Georgia had a 30-yard touchdown on a busted play. And Arkansas, good heavens, they ran for 188 yards against Texas, which that's not good. And they had a 41-yard run on the first play of the game. So, yeah, this defense they got to figure this out, because A&M, can put up some points. Marcel Reed throwing it to, Concepcion and Craver. It sounds like they're going to have Reuben Owens back. He did not play against Samford, neither did Craver. But I think that was precautionary. I don't know that Texas is going to see Le'Veon Moss again for the 2nd straight year. So, yeah, the defense, good heavens. You look at the first, just to contrast, the first 7 games of the year, Texas gave up 2 explosive plays to Ohio State, 6 to San Jose State, 4 to UTEP, 3 to Sam Houston, 11 against Florida, 9 against OU, and 10 against Kentucky. And again, the last 4, it's been 15, 16, 9, and 15. And teams in that 4-game stretch are averaging 35.3 points per game against the Texas defense. They were giving up 11.3 points the first 7 games. So whatever it is, guys trying to do too much, trying to do more than their job, they got to get this reined in, Zay, because otherwise this game could be 50-47 on Friday.
Yeah, and Sark also made it known that it's guys that have had a lot of experience that are out here mucking up. Like you saw Mookie Taft get his ass ran over. That looked like 2023 Mookie Taft that we used to talk about, Chip, where he used to make the tackle but then drag. And that when Washington ran his ass over on that touchdown, that was one that I told Double R after the game on the post-game show that got me out my chair for the wrong reason because that was just vicious. And that's
I thought he might have been concussed.
Yo, me too. The way that he rolled and like his head, like he looked like Bijan Robinson in that Tech game, Bijan's rookie year, freshman year, where his
scorpion.
Yeah, that's how he looked. But again, Bijan was getting tackled, not making the tackle. Sheesh, that was rough. And he got juked a couple of times too by Taylor Green. So Mookie Taft hasn't been great since he's been back from that thumb injury, and that worries you a little bit. And
he said that today.
He did.
He said that today. He's like, I'm part of this. You know.
Yeah.
He's like, it's hard for me to get on anyone else when I gotta look in the mirror and realize that I've had my eyes in the wrong place a couple times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Manny Muhammad wasn't that good. Jalen Gilbo's snaps are gone. They've lost whatever trust they had in them. That's over with because those huge plays back-to-back weeks, Vanderbilt and Georgia, he was involved on the biggest bust of the game offensively. That Eli Stowers play where Mookie Taft, where that was a muck up. Well, I don't know if it was Mookie Taft. It was Xavier Filsaime, I think. And then the Georgia game, that was involved with Mookie Taft. But Jalen Gilbo, he was in both of those. You're a senior, bro. You can't be having busts like that. You only get so many chances. And if Cade Phillips is going to continue to play the way he is, he was solid against Arkansas. The freshman was making plays, Pro Football Focus grade of 76.6. And we know over 70 is above average, 80 is good. So him being there, according to Pro Football Focus, he was the second best defensive player on the team this past Saturday night. And he had 51 snaps to Jalen.
He got his first career start.
Jalen Gilbo had 20. They got him on special teams duty, which ain't no knock. A lot of guys who start play special teams for Jeff Banks, but he made a play on special teams, and Jeff Banks gave him one of them hit on the helmets like, that away, dog. Stay with it because we know you've been replaced. So how do you get our trust back? You got to make other plays beyond just playing on defense. You got to make them on special teams too. So, yeah, man, this defense, they're tired. They've been on the field a lot. And, yeah, Sark is right. I think them just trying to make plays to negate the lack of production from the offense has now led to bad fundamentals. And now you add fatigue and you add durability with that coming into game 12. That's a bad mix right there. And I think that's why you've seen them be very vulnerable, and teams have taken advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be what's up, CB? And happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a really interesting week. I mean, Steve Sarkisian, because I asked him about the run game. I mean, I said Contravian Wisner ran for 186 yards in this game a year ago. And he came up big in the OU game. What's your level of confidence in staying patient with the run? And he said, we're going to do whatever we have to win. And if that means we're running it and we have some success there, great. If we're having more success passing, we'll probably pass more. And if we're doing both, great. But you can tell they're having success passing. Just look at the numbers. I mean, they're throwing it way more than they're running it. And they're having success. I mean, look, Arch Manning, the last 4 games, dude is, completed 63% against Mississippi State, completed 75.8% against Vanderbilt, threw for, 328 yards. He's averaging more than 300 yards passing per game the last 4 games. And he's got 11 touchdowns passing and 2 interceptions. One of them went through the hands of Parker Livingston against Mississippi State. And he's accounted for 15 touchdowns and only the 2 turnovers. So, Steve Sarkisian, he's happy because the whole passing game is in play. He's not just having to get the ball quick out of Arch's hands. The O-line's done a decent job of creating pockets, and Arch, he's not getting hit like he was earlier in the year. He's seeing the field. He's going through his progression, and that's going to be fascinating because A&M has – so your top 3 teams in sacks are OU, A&M, and Texas right now. So we know about Cassius Howell. We know about Torian York. They bring a lot of A-gap pressure too, like Kirby Smart does, because Torian York's a good blitzer. So this is, I'm fully expecting a shootout. I don't know what the over-under is, but I bet this thing's a shootout.
Yeah, going back to last year, which Sark kind of danced around the question with Contravian Wisner because he know that run game is whack, and this is the worst run team that Steve Sarkisian has ever had in all his years of coaching. So, he has to stay positive and keep Contravian Wisner in this running game engaged. Solid coaching there by Steve, but you won't be able to milk that game like you did at Kyle Field last year, where Contravian Wisner had over 30 carries. You just don't have that ability to. You don't have the experience on the offensive line and guys that were just flat out nastier than this group. Like Brandon Baker, he got ate up on Saturday. He was not very good. So if you're Cassius Howell and Mike Elko, you're licking your chops there. And thankfully, Arch Manning's done a solid job of just not getting hit as much and just his pocket awareness, man. The dude is hard to bring down. Because, again, Arkansas, they were back there. It wasn't like Arkansas wasn't getting pressure. Don't let the no sacks fool you on pressures out here. Arch Manning was dodging them things. He was making things happen in the pocket and outside the pocket. So you're not going to get that luxury against A&M because they got better dogs than Arkansas does. Now, has A&M played anybody since they were in South Bend early in September? Hell no. Hell no. They have not. So this is a big test. Like, I get it. They were quote unquote tested when the Gamecocks came into town and being down 28, but South Carolina is South Carolina. They're not very good either. So this is a big time test for them, and all the pressure's on A&M. Like, Texas has pressure, but not really. It's a long shot to make the college football playoff. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to the SEC championship game. A&M lost last year, their little brother, and they could get to the SEC championship game, something that they've never done in all the years they've been in the SEC. Meanwhile, Texas did it in year one. So the pressure is all on them. And Marcel Reed, as good as he's been, Marcel Reed ain't perfect. He could get a little shaky in the pocket. He could get out of his mechanics sometimes where that arm looks a little sketchy. And I'm sure Colin Klein don't like that at all. But yeah, I think this team, man, I think it's going to be a shootout too. And I think that's your best bet to win the game. I think, hey, you got to try to run up the score on these dudes because they're leaky. They're leaky. There have been Arkansas put up points. You know what I'm saying? Like South Carolina put up points. So it's not like A&M can't get got. You just got to be very selective and you got to be creative, which I'm glad Sark's being more creative than he's been. You remember we talked about that last week? Little Philly special. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. We're at the end of the year. It's time to bring all that stuff. The kitchen sink. It's time to throw it at Mike Elko and them. It is time. You ain't got nothing to lose at this point. Throw that kitchen sink, baby. You gave Bobby Petrino a little taste, sprinkled in there a little taste, a little Philly special. But what else? What else you got? Because that can't be it. And you might need all that and then some when the Aggies come into town Black Friday. So I'm not going to lie, Chip. You know me. I could be doomsday any moment. I'm feeling pretty good about this game. I really do. Especially since I think Texas, nothing to lose mindset. A&M, a lot to lose, even though with a loss, they're still in the college football playoff. But we know with this rivalry, it's way more than that.
Yeah, the Notre Dame game was interesting for Marcel Reed because he was not accurate in that game, but his receivers did an amazing job of yards after catch in that game. Mario Craver had 7 catches for 207 yards and a touchdown, and Concepcion had 4 catches for 82 yards. Marcel Reed was just 17 of 37. That's 45% completion, but it was for 360 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception because his receivers did such a good job of yards after catch on the balls that they caught, especially Craver in that game. Concepcion has done it for A&M in other games. Those guys are a problem. And that's where your concern level with the Texas pass defense is going, is the alarms are going off because those dudes have been as good of a transfer tandem as there is this year in college football. Zachariah Branch, obviously for Georgia. But I mean, Craver and Concepcion, those boys have been nasty.
Yeah. And don't sleep on Bethel Roman either. Their number 3 guy. Don't sleep on him. I was watching that LSU game back. They threw him a crosser chip. He's running to the right, so he has to look over his right shoulder. Marcel Reed throws it behind him. He jumps and opens his chest and grabs it with one hand and just pulls it in like on the run. He turns around, grabs it with one hand. I'm over here like, yo, this is their wide receiver 3 after Concepcion and Craver. They got weapons, man. And you can't sleep on the tight ends, too. The ones I can't pronounce their names, 87 and 17. Those dudes are solid. I don't know. I can't pronounce their names worth of crap. But I know you better find them. 87 and 17. They go 12 personnel. They tough, man.
And Bethel Roman, he averages 24.5 yards per reception. So on paper, he only has 18 catches, but it's for 442 yards. I mean, he's got 5 touchdowns. So you're right. I mean, he's benefited from the attention that Concepcion and Craver have gotten. And so, all these guys are electric with the ball in their hands after the catch. And that's Steve Sarkisian's philosophy. Steve Sarkisian's philosophy is we need speed. We need to hit these guys in stride so they can go crazy. And that's when Steve Sarkisian's offense is at its best. That's what it's doing. And here's Colin Klein. And Colin Klein, like, his name should be coming up for head coaching jobs because, let's be honest, the reason Jimbo Fisher didn't have the success that he probably thought he was going to have at A&M is because he was, running the offense. He was coaching the quarterbacks, and he didn't do a very good job of it. And Colin Klein's come in there, and, man, he's got this offense, flying high, balanced, running, throwing. Marcel Reed. And the funny thing is his numbers and Arch's numbers are almost the same.
Yeah.
They're almost the same. Like, Marcel Reed has 20. Marcel Reed he's completed 61.8% of his passes. He's got 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Arch has completed 62.5. He's got 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Arch has thrown for more yards. Arch has run for 7 touchdowns. Marcel Reed has run for 6 touchdowns. So, Marcel Reed has 2 more touchdown passes than Arch, but also one more interception. And Arch has 1 more rushing touchdown than Marcel Reed. But, I mean, A&M went to Notre Dame and won on the last play of the game. And it was probably a holding call. But anyway, that was missed. Because you're right. You look at A&M's schedule, on paper, when you looked at it at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh, wow, okay, Notre Dame, you got to play LSU at LSU. You got to play Missouri at Missouri. Well, LSU was firing Brian Kelly. They were already headed to Nowheresville. And Missouri did not have Bo Perbula. You got the freshman Zollers, who was 7 of 22. He was terrible that day. And then South Carolina rolls into College Station, and Marcel Reed looked like he was point shaving. I mean, he's throwing the ball to South Carolina. He had that fumble backwards that turned into a scoop and score touchdown. I mean, you couldn't believe how bad that guy was playing. And so kudos to him for getting it back together in the second half, and Shane Beamer jinxing his team after saying at halftime, we beat this team by 24 last year. Like, we didn't come down here just trying to hang in the game. We expected to win. And then, my God, his team looked like it was point shaving in the second half. But
hey, but they're going to playoff next year, though. Remember, he said that next year, 2026, that's the year, college football playoff. He said that right after that game.
Shane Beamer?
Yeah, Shane Beamer.
Yeah.
His crazy ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been diving into this game, and look, A&M is number 1 in the nation in third down defense. And Oklahoma was top 2 in the nation in third down defense. Like, I'm not sweating that as much because Arch is playing with so much confidence. His receivers are making plays for him now. The stat broadcast did not count any drops in that game. So there were balls that woulda, coulda, shoulda been caught, but a DB got his hand in there.
Yeah.
So got to be tougher in making those catches. But you know, they're making plays for him now. I mean, Wingo had a good game, Mosley had a good game, Parker had a good game, and Endries finally made a play.
Finally.
So, you know, Arch is seeing the field. They're calling stuff. I just, man, Quintravian Wisner is that he's the X factor to me. Like he's now he's not the focal point of the offense. And when he has been the focal point of the offense, it's been pretty good for Texas against A&M, against OU. So I'm fascinated to see what Sarkisian tries to do at the beginning of this game. Does he come out like he did against Georgia, try to be balanced, or does he just come out slinging it? Because Arch is in a groove. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, some of these drives were a minute 35, Zay. I mean, you gotta keep your defense off the field.
Yeah, but that's what's tough. Like, finally, they're getting some explosive plays. It's just, like I said earlier, this defense has been on the field so much this season, it's coming back to haunt them. Like, it really is. Like, from Ant Hill getting hurt, Mookie Taft getting hurt. Like, now we got guys that are getting replaced and stuff. Like, it's just, that's why Sark is so adamant on, man, we got to find a lot of bodies to play early and get them out there because it's such a long season, especially if you're trying to get to the college football playoff. You're just trying to survive. You know what I mean? So now that the offense is finally clicking, this defense, man, it sucks that they've taken steps back. And the secondary, they're going to get tested more than they've been probably since the Ohio State game. Even with them giving up a lot of Skrilla against Arkansas and Mississippi State and obviously Georgia. Like, wide receiver group like this, they're not quite as good as Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, but I think they're the next best wide receiver crew. That's for sure. And then you got to worry about Marcel Reed's legs, which, ask LSU. He might have had one of the best runs of the year from the quarterback position in that game where he was juking guys and weaving through traffic and whatnot. So, yeah, Colin Klein, I'm with you. I don't know why his name hasn't popped up in all these crazy coaching conversations, but when they came in last year, him and Mike Elko in the 2024 season, we knew the type of quarterback that would fit Colin Klein's system, and Connor Wegman was not it. They figured out Marcel Reed was. They clearly had a really good offseason with him, and now, hey, it's paying off. So you got to salute what Mike Elko and this coaching staff have done in College Station here in year 2, but you got to keep it a buck also. That schedule, weak. That schedule is weaker than Kevin Durant at the combine trying to throw up the bench press where he couldn't. Weak-ass schedule. So, yeah, A&M. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of – we know battered Aggie syndrome is a thing. We know that is real. We know it's going to be a stressful week for them Aggie fans, a real stressful week because they ain't even looking at college football playoff right now. They can't. They can't do that. Their bodies, it just won't let them. The hate is so pure. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not looking at that. They're not looking at, oh, well, if we lose, we still have a chance to play for the national championship. No, they are not looking at that. All they see is the burnt orange, and they say, we got to get our get back. We have to. This is the year. There's not many years where this happens, where you're top dog and you have so many goals ahead of you. And Texas is out here looking at like little brother. where Texas is out here playing spoiler. There aren't many seasons like that. So they're really trying to capitalize. And I know Mike Elko feels it. I know he does. I know they all feel it. They gonna front and act like they don't. And you got that bulletin board material. They came into Kyle Field and beat you down last year, stopped you from going to Atlanta for the SEC championship. So there's even more bulletin board material other than just the actual rivalry. But yeah, you add that pressure mixed in with it, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, man, the time of possession, I was just looking at it, and God, I forgot. In the Kentucky game, Kentucky had the ball 39 minutes, 23 seconds. Texas had it 20 minutes and 37 seconds. But Texas has come a long way since then. And, against Mississippi State, Texas won the time of possession. Against Vanderbilt, it was, virtually even. So, but there's no doubt that defense has been on the field, man. Because, against Arkansas, Arkansas had the ball 34 minutes and Texas had it 25. So, I don't know, man. A nice run game would come in handy, but as Steve Sarkisian said, got to win it however we can win it. And yeah, and for some reason, I'm with you, Zay. I look at A&M and I don't, they don't have, the receivers, those receivers are legit, and that's gonna, how is Pete Kwiatkowski gonna defend those receivers? Because Texas has been playing a lot of zone, and good quarterbacks have been able to find the soft spots in the zone. And, they're not, he was asked about playing more press man. He's like, well, you got to be confident to play press man. And we've had some guys get beat. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, wait a minute. Steve said that?
He said that a week ago.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, that's cold.
Yeah. Warren Roberson is probably your best press man corner, and God bless him. Has there ever been a player who's had more
he gonna get
costly holding penalties than that guy?
Yeah, he gonna get called for something. He wasn't even involved in the play.
He was on the other side of the field.
On the other side of the field. What you holding for?
What are you getting tangled up with that receiver for?
Then on special teams, he just got to grab and tackle, just bringing folks down. There was that weird play a few weeks ago against Vanderbilt where he's playing that press coverage and he just off sides and just hits the hell out of the dude.
What the hell was that?
He's going to find a penalty one way or another, or it's going to find him. But, yeah, their communication and zone defense has not been good. I don't know where the disconnect is. Again, you're starting to see a lot of freshmen. Grayson Littleton, he continues to get clocked. Cade Phillips, he got the start. Jonah Williams got his most snaps of the year, over 20. So these young guys, knowing that, all right, maybe it's time to start looking towards the future a little more, because doesn't look like you're going to get in the college football playoff. So that bowl game, whichever the hell one that you're going to get into, that's a build for the future 2026 game, unfortunately. That's how you got to look at it. So those guys that are a part of the plan, that are next up, why not throw them out there to get some early bump? Like Jalen Gilbo, you had your chance, buddy. That's one of the more sad stories out there, in my opinion, because how I feel about Jalen Gilbo. I loved him at the star position. He was quietly productive. Jahdae Barron, Andrew Makuba, Michael Taft, all those guys got all the love, but Jalen Gilbo just kept his head down and did all the little things. And never really got taken advantage of at that star position. He went up to Pete Kwiatkowski and Sark and said, yo, move me to the outside. I'm trying to make that leap like you saw Jade did last year. Jade ended up winning the Thorpe Award. Clearly, this coaching staff trusted Jalen Gilbo enough to say, okay, which now it makes me think, did that happen? Or did Grayson Littleton come in and take that spot? And they were like, let's move him to the outside and see how that goes. Because he has played a lot of football for us, so he knows the offense, but we got to play this freshman. So I really don't know how that went. You know, it sounds cute that he went up to Sark and Pete Kwiatkowski and was like, yo, let me play on the outside, guys, and they trusted him enough to do that, but it hasn't worked out like you thought it would. You know, they don't go at Manny Muhammad. They go at 3 the whole game, like as much as they can, especially down the stretch. And he's gotten exposed, and his communication just hasn't been there. So now you're here in game 11, and you're a senior, and the coaching staff saying, man, when we need you most, we can't trust you anymore. We got to play this freshman. That's brutal. That's brutal. Like, I did not see that coming, but hey, you got to play the guys that you feel the most comfortable with. And right now, Kay Phillips is it. And he's proven that. He's got way better measurables than Jalen Gilbo does. So he has that going for him with his length and athleticism and size. Like, those are some things that you just can't teach. So him being a freshman, it's obviously taken him a while to figure it out. At the plays that I saw him making against Arkansas, he made some good plays. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to throw him in the fire against Concepcion and Craver. All right. Here you go, freshman. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kobe Black, he got on the field and it wasn't great, you know. Yeah. I think he took a big confidence hit after that Florida game where, you know, he gives up a couple of touchdowns to Dallas Wilson. They got to build him back up. And, you know,
it's tough.
It is tough because
yeah, that's a lot of guys that have lost confidence, especially with how Sark and that comment he made about playing man. Like, that says everything I need to hear. Like, come on, what?
And I'm sick and tired of watching this defense play off coverage. I mean, that's not the mindset of this defense. So stop doing it, you know? I mean, you can't play defense on your heels. You got to play defense coming downhill. And I mean, that play that they rushed 2 against Arkansas, they converted 3rd and forever. I'm like,
damn,
what are you doing?
Rush 2 and drop 9? What play was that?
That was in the second half. Brad Spence was 20 yards downfield. It was the same shit we saw against Ohio State. You know, I'm just like, you're terrible at playing that. So stop doing it. Play a normal down of defense. Bring the heat and let them play and live with the consequences. Because I'll find it here.
Yeah, what play is that? Because
it was
that's horrible.
Third and it was 3rd and 20. And KJ Jackson threw a 21-yard pass to Raylan Sharp with 2 minutes left in the game.
Okay.
3rd and 20. They converted. Like, stop. Mississippi State had 4th and 20 in overtime. You brought the house. You sacked them and stripped them of the football. Like, that's who you are. Stop doing this nonsense prevent defense, because you're either doing a terrible job of coaching it or it's just not in your player's nature. And I know people are like, well, they've given up a lot of yards, but they haven't given up points, red zone defense, blah, blah, blah. Well, now they're giving up points. So, and they're giving up explosives, and they weren't giving up explosives either. So,
yeah, now you used to be able to bank on the run game. 6.1 a carry, 188 yards on the ground. Okay. So the pass game is struggling, but you could bank on the run game. Now the run game might be struggling.
Right. Right. So yeah, this is a huge week. Because look, here's the deal. These guys are locked in. All the players on both sides are totally locked in for this game. They know it's a rivalry game. You don't have to say a word to them. They're all going to be amped. They got buddies on the other team. They know. Like Arkansas, you got to convince them. Hey man, these guys are good. They've played people close. And the players are like, yeah, whatever. This week, you don't have to say a thing. So now everything you tell them should get absorbed. And so this is a big week of coaching for both sides, because you got to have a good game plan, and then you got to put guys in position to win. And Pete Kwiatkowski, I'm looking at you, because you're going to have Anthony Hill back. He's going to be wearing a club. Look, he's going to be running around. He's a terror. He'll be fine. And God, did they miss him?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh, flip.
Yeah, the first play of the game, man, where homeboy went for like 46 yards, Washington, and Trey Moore and Leonga Lafau both missed their assignment. And Sark talk about they missed the tackle. No, they missed plugging up.
They went in the wrong gap. Yeah.
They went in the wrong gap. They didn't miss a tackle. They missed going in the wrong gap, Steve.
Yeah, and Lafau probably got held, but still he was in the wrong place. So but that was bad. And Anthony Hill, they need him on the field, because he is their run defense. He's their second level run defense. And yeah, I can't wait for this game. I think it's going to be lit. And A&M did not play well against South Carolina. That was their last game against a real football team. And that was at home. Now, were they looking ahead? I don't know. But
damn, 3 weeks? 2 weeks, I mean?
Right.
Looking ahead for 2 weeks?
Relaxing.
Yeah.
South Carolina
too. Like Craver's not the biggest guy. With how much they use him, his volume, they were smart to keep him out of that Samford game. Like, if you get some shots on him, then, but it's hard to catch him. That's the point. It's hard to get shots on him. And Casey Concepcion, don't punt to him. Jack Bomeister, be careful. Do not punt to that guy, because talk about Blazers. When he gets the ball in his hands, he is dynamic. So, yeah, you better respect these guys, these Aggies, which, like you said, Chip, you have no choice but to respect them in a game like this.
Well, and that's a good point about Concepcion. So Texas is number 2 nationally in punt returns, and A&M is 8th. So this is the first team Texas has played, maybe since Ohio State, where you really have to be thinking about their punt returner. So, yeah, Jack Bomeister, he needs to be locked in, because Texas needs to win the special teams. They need to do it. you look at A&M when it comes to field goal kicking. I know you love it when I tell you about the field goal kicking.
I do, because it wins and loses games.
Randy Bond is only 11 of 18, 61%.
That a boy, Randy. Randy's feeling it. Talk about pressure. Randy's feeling it. Yeah, Randy. I hope they don't need me on Friday. That's what Randy's thinking.
He's missed 3 of his last 6. He missed 2. He missed a 45-yarder and a 24-yarder against South Carolina.
Yeah, don't be surprised, Randy, if your food on Thursday tastes different. That ain't you. That's just the nervousness in your system that's making that turkey taste a little bland. That turkey is moist, juicy, but that pressure, him feeling them nerves. I hope they don't need me on Friday. Yeah, Randy. Yeah. I like that. I like those stats, Chip. I like those stats.
He is 5 of 8 on field goals, 40 to 49, and 0 of 3 on field goals, 50 plus.
Oh, yeah, Randy. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I want to hear. What's that weather going to be like Friday? Okay, they lucky. It's going to be cloudy. I don't see no rain, but 48 degrees, low, 66 high. Perfect football weather. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Though Randy's praying right now. I hope they don't need me. I hope.
Don't call on me. Don't call on me, teacher.
Please make this a double-digit victory so I don't get that call, because, Randy, a little sketchy, been a little shaky this year. Nike fans know that. They know that. This is one of them games, man. Everybody, all hands on deck. You're going to need everybody in this game,
Yeah. And their punter, Tyler White, he's Bowmeister like 44.5 yards per punt. So that's about a draw. But field goals, oh yeah. Mason Shipley, this is your moment. This is your moment. Mason Shipley, 16 of 20, 4 of 4 from 40 to 49 yards, and he's hit a 53-yarder. So the only like weird field goal he had was the one where he hooked it at Mississippi State, the 29-yarder. Yeah. So,
okay. So we got to talk about this when we get Hummer on. Leon LaFowl throwing the ball at Bevo on the scoop score. Shout out to Colin Simmons for the sack fumble. But throwing the ball at Bevo, I get you don't get in the end zone much, Leon LaFowl, but bro, come on, man. That was crazy. He scared the hell out of Bevo. Bevo was just chilling, having a good night. Lights go out. Bevo wondering, man, lights going out now. What the hell's going on? And then I got this pigskin flying my way. Bevo's kind of quick, though. I always underestimate how quick Bevo is. From his time attacking Uga to him dodging the ball. Like, when Bevo needs to, don't let the figure fool you. When Bevo needs to, he can move, which is crazy. But yeah, that was the most nuts celebration I've ever seen. I'm like, this fool really just throw the ball at Bevo?
Yeah, it was like he was like a runner in the lane or something.
Yeah, he like threw it like this. Like, I don't know what the hell that was.
And Michael Tapp is like, yo, man, I'm like a member of the Silver Spurs. We celebrate with Bevo. We don't throw the ball at him. Oh my God. And Leonga's like, I didn't mean anything. We celebrate with Bevo. And it was like, Well, yeah. You don't throw the ball at him. I mean, you don't want him to go charging out of his pen.
That's what I'm saying. I've never seen that before. Like I've never seen that before.
Yeah, remember when Jordan Whittington scored and he went over and it was like talking to Bebo? That, that's what you do.
Yeah. He actually commented Jordan Whittington on Twitter. He was like, "Hey man, leave my friend alone. Like, what are we doing?" Yeah, I don't know if Peter's gonna call him or I'm sure somebody down there at UT is gonna tell Sark, like, "Hey, I didn't think we would have to have this conversation, but can you tell your players when they score, let's not throw the ball at Bevo. Y'all could go celebrate it with them, but throwing things at them, probably not the best move." But hey, the Uncle Foul needed that.
He did.
He needed that. Good for him, because it's been up and down for the Foul. Like we talked about it last week. He was way better in 2024 than he has been here in 2025. And right place at the right time. Ethan Burke almost messed it up by running him over. I was like, 91, get out the way, bro. Get out the way. Thank goodness there was nothing but orange jerseys over there, because there was a Arkansas guy trying to get on the foul, and somehow he got tangled up and with the rest of the Longhorns running with him. But yeah, big time play by Colin Simmons, and first defensive touchdown of the year, 11th game of the season. Can you believe that?
Yeah. I mean, that he needed that. He definitely did. And Colin Simmons, oh man, what a strip sack. I mean, he grabbed that. Was that Craver at that point? He just ragdolled him. Ball comes out, and Leonga Foul off to the races.
Yeah. Kalen Green, they might want to check him out for gambling, because Taylor Green was a little sketchy out there when he threw that ball to Jelani McDonald. You can't trust nobody nowadays, Chip. After Chauncey Billups, if Chauncey Billups could get locked up, I don't trust nobody. It could be anyone, in my opinion. Everyone's sketchy. Everyone's a target. Like, I don't care what you did. If Chauncey Billups could do it, anyone could get it. So anytime I see anything like that, where Taylor Green, why the hell are you throwing the ball out there? That was stupid. Yeah, holding up your Chauncey Billups poster that you're so proud of still. But yeah, anytime anyone does anything sketchy like Taylor Green did by just throwing the ball to Jelani McDonald, and then he didn't look too hurt. It was one of those, bro, why ain't you coming back in the game? What's going on? I don't know. That's a little sketchy, Taylor Green, but whatever, man. But then KJ Jackson, who looked like Mike Vick, by the way, Jackson was coming in, making plays, breaking tackles. Like, who the hell is this? How are y'all letting this fool do this? Like, the backup redshirt freshman quarterback that wasn't even on the scouting report. Like, that was a good audition tape for him, because who knows what he does. But for somebody that lost their coach, that will probably put their name in the portal, depending on whatever happens with Arkansas, that's what you want. Like, go up against Texas as a backup freshman, put up some good numbers. He's going to get some calls. His agent going to get some calls. So
yeah, remember Michael Van Buren had a good game against Texas.
Yeah.
LSU was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
He ended up finishing the season. Because old Nussmeier, I don't know how hurt he was, but he didn't finish the season.
Yeah.
It's been
disappointment.
Yeah.
Nussmeier. Good grief.
Oh boy. All right, real quick before Hummer jumps on here. Hey, for my guys who are snoring, it's more than just annoying to the person sleeping next to you. Could be the sign of a serious health issue called sleep apnea, which is a lack of oxygen while you're sleeping. So that's nothing to be messed with. And because of our great partnership between Texas Sports Unfiltered and the Sleep Cycle Center in Austin, two great locations in Lakeway and the Arboretum, and our guy, Dr. Chad Denman, who's dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea because it killed his own father at the age of 60. You go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study. And that Dr. Chad has the best technology to detect your level of sleep apnea with that sleep study, and the best treatment options, including oral appliances like I have, a mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open when I sleep. I wear it every single night without hesitation. Makes all the difference in the world. I sleep better. I wake up rested. That's what it's all about. Go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. And hey, it's Monday. All night happy hour, cover 3. So, I mean, you're looking for a place to watch Monday Night Football or hang out. Just hang out. Hell, no better place to go. Hell, you can go by yourself and hang out at the bar. There's some honeys there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, probably some cougars, something. But hey, cover 3, great vibe, great food. High-end food without the high-end prices. Happy hour all night tonight, 3:30 to close. Got the $7 social hour menu. I mean, you're eating firecracker shrimp, bacon deviled eggs, the big chicken slider for fast food prices. You're hanging out at a high-end restaurant without the high-end prices. Cover 3, baby. Cover 3 Anderson. Cover 3 Round Rock. And when you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, our man Tom McKay, audiovisual consultations, he's got you covered. He's been the man in Austin for big screen surround sound, media rooms. Hell, he's put up big screens in most all your favorite restaurants in Austin. He's done it for me in 3 different houses in my 30 years in Austin. Cannot recommend him enough. He's going to bring you the best price on big screens. So you don't need to be, out there on Black Friday elbowing people. Just call 255-8678. That's 255-8678. And let Tom and his crew bring everything to you. You don't need to be punching holes in your drywall. Tom and his crew are going to bring everything, hang it like a masterpiece in a museum, and you're going to love it. If your big screen isn't big enough to make you feel like you're on the sideline at the game, it might be time to upgrade. AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. All right, Zach. I got to tell you, the NFL was bonkers yesterday. The Cowboys falling behind 21-0 to the Eagles. My Lions trailing the Giants the entire game. I was like, what on earth is happening? Meanwhile, the Bears totally controlled the Steelers. I'm like, what is happening here? It was rough. But, I mean, the Cowboys, that's one of them games where at halftime or whatever, first quarter, they're down 21-0. You're like, this team has no heart, blah, 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 blah. And then they start making some plays. They're playing with great effort. That dude on special teams knocks that ball loose from that fool who tried to field that punt at the 2 and run sideways. And Dak Prescott's throwing dimes. CeeDee Lamb's dropping them and complaining that Dak should have been throwing it over here. Throw it over here.
Yeah, just catch the ball. That's that Sooner stuff. That's he gonna Sooner every once in a while, y'all. As good as he is, as talented as he is, I know he's a Texan, but he went to Oklahoma. There's just some stuff that he's gonna do that's gonna make you scratch your head, and that's what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, he's losing all credibility. CD for drops, Lamb.
Yeah. Meanwhile, George Pickens, he's looking like wide receiver 1.
And when he's running, he doesn't even look like he's running as fast as he can.
Mm-mm.
I'm like, hey, Pickens, pick it up, man. Put the Jets on. But he's making plays, man. Making plays. Ferguson's so good. We never talk about Ferguson. Ferguson just makes plays. He's the one dating a Cavender twin, right?
Right. She got him right.
She got him right.
Yeah, people look at the Cavender twin and they're like, oh, she's just a Instagram influencer. No, those girls used to hoop on full rides. Like, don't try to sleep on them because they look like Barbie and stuff. Like, them girls, they got some competitive nature in them. They could hoop. So she understands what an athlete has to do to be at peak performance. Carson Beck, he could have handled that with the Cavender twin he was with. Where he at?
Well, was he messing around on her?
That's what they say. And word on the street is he ain't the nicest person. So I think they were just having problems behind the scenes that we ain't even know about. But yeah, this Cavender twin, Jake Ferguson, one of the more underrated tight ends in the league. And Chip, this sucks, but Andrew Makuba, I think, broke his ankle yesterday. So for Eagles, that's tough. Their secondary, they got carved up in that second half, and Makuba's not out there. He's a big part of their secondary at this point, and now he's going to have to undergo surgery for that ankle, which is brutal because he's been having an amazing rookie season. And even though the Eagles lost yesterday, their Super Bowl goals are still in front of them, and you want Andrew Makuba to be a part of that. So doesn't look like it will be, but I really do think that affected the Eagles yesterday. And Vic Fangio trying to figure out how to place Makuba, Dak Prescott, he took advantage of that. So,
yeah. Well, Cowboys are sitting there at 5-5-1. You know, as a Lions fan, I appreciate what the Cowboys did yesterday. They did what the Lions couldn't do, which was win the game.
Yeah. Isn't it ironic that the first game AJ Brown has, good game that he has in a while, they lose? Like, what does that tell you? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, if I'm AJ Brown, that tells me a lot. Like, I would feel so shitty. He probably doesn't, but I would feel like trash because of all the bitching that he's done this year. And then now he has a good game and they lose. But when he was playing bad, they were winning. Funny how that works.
Yeah. AJ Brown could screw up a winning lottery ticket. You know what I mean? All right, let's bring in the man. We love him. We call him Hole in One Hummer, national college football analyst for CBSSports.com, 24/7 Sports, the one and only Chris Hummer. Hummer, how you doing?
What up? Doing good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Good, Hummer.
Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. What's the side dish, y'all there? What's like the number one side dish for y'all at Thanksgiving?
Say, you're the
baked mac and cheese. Has to be baked. Like that, it's mandatory that it has to be baked. No craft stuff. You know, put that thing in the oven, put the breadcrumbs on top, really get it right. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I'm
How about
actually
you?
right there with you, man. Like that, the mac and cheese is what I go for first. That's what I want to eat. That's like what I want to destroy. Baked mac and cheese is tough to transport. Like the family that's cooking it has to do it there. Otherwise, it kind of overcooks. But baked mac and cheese is elite. It is an elite side dish.
Yeah.
That's why we have you on, Hummer. Like great minds think alike, man. Like you get it. You know the game.
Yeah, we want you to confirm our biases, Hummer.
I wish I had a better take. Low key though, like I think I eat like 4 rolls every Thanksgiving, maybe 5. So like rolls are a sneaky contender there. So
yeah. Well, Hummer, what'd you think of Texas 52, Arkansas 37?
I think Arkansas is a team with a lot of flaws, and I thought Texas exposed them completely on offense. That was as complete a performance offensively as I've seen from Texas this year. We'll see how translatable it is, but I mean, if you're Arch Manning, that's got to feel good, right? You're like freaking making a leaping catch in the end zone. Like you're 6 weeks removed from people calling you like the first ever flop in college football history and synonymous with failure. And he's been like a top 10 quarterback in the country basically since then. I think people owe Arch Manning a lot of apologies, and I think this is a good lesson for people not to overreact to 5 games early in the season.
Yeah, and he's got a chance this Friday, 6:30 he'll have the stage pretty much to himself to show people how far he's come. How do you think he fares against the A&M defense?
It'll be interesting. I'm not so much worried about Arch faring against A&M defense. I think Arch is playing well enough to where you can feel reasonably confident that he's going to perform well on Friday. To me, it's still the offensive line. I know that group has played better since the kind of made some switches along the interior, but A&M is one of the top pass rushing units in the country. They create, I think, pressure at the 14th highest rate, despite blitzing a pretty infrequent amount. Cassius Howell coming off the edge is one of the top edge rushers in the country. If that offensive line holds up, I think Texas will be fine. It's just, we'll see how they hold up. That's been the question mark for Texas all year. Like when that offensive line plays well, Texas wins games. When they don't, they really struggle.
Hummer, how impressed are you with Mike Elko here in year 2? Now, I know looking at their schedule, like the teams that they've beaten in the SEC are at the bottom of the standings, but still 11-0 is 11-0. Talk about just how good A&M has been and why their coach deserves credit for it.
They've been awesome. I mean, I know the schedule isn't that hard, at least on paper, and that should be acknowledged, but it's also the SEC. Like, it's not an easy, like, even the bottom of the SEC is really good compared to some other conferences, and A&M's handled it well. We saw how they responded last weekend at South Carolina. That was one of the biggest comebacks I've seen in college football history. I mean, I don't even think I could do that in NCAA football very easily if you spotted me 28 down, right? Especially with those 5-minute clocks. So I've been very impressed. They've assembled one of the best offenses in college football. It's a big play unit. Marcel Reed might not be the most accurate passer in college football, but he certainly makes the plays when it matters. We've seen that over and over again this year. Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver have totally changed the feel of that offense. It's a really, really well put together team with a ton of talent, and Mike Elko and his staff should be given a lot of credit. It's not like it was broken when they took it over from Jimbo Fisher, but there were a lot of holes they had to fill, and they've done a great job filling them.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Klein seems like a guy who should be getting some head coaching love.
He has, like, he's been in the mix at places like he interviewed at Colorado State. I know he is a guy that has been in the mix at Oklahoma State as well, like pretty heavily. So this is somebody that I think people are really paying attention to. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up finishing out, like the coaching cycle, particularly. I know Arkansas was also interested in Colin Klein as well. But he is a guy I think long-term will certainly be a head coach. That is the industry consensus. And I think he's definitely a guy that fits that bill as a future head coach in the space. And I mean, I don't know when or if Kansas State's ever going to come open, but I guarantee you if that comes open, you can write Colin Klein and pen for that job.
Yeah. Hummer, for A&M, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on them knowing what's at stake, losing to Texas last year. If you lose this game, you don't go to Atlanta for their first appearance for the SEC championship. What is it going to take for Texas to beat this A&M group in your eyes? I know you mentioned the offensive line and you feel good about Arch, but overall, what do you think it's going to take for Texas to become victorious in this game?
As I said before, the offensive line definitely has to play well, but defensively, like we've seen that unit have some busts, especially in the secondary. That unit has to play better. It has to play sound. Texas is going to have to get home from a pass rushing perspective against one of the most veteran offensive lines in the country. We've seen that pass rush unit really come on in the second half of the season, but they're going to have to play well in this game. And really, like, Texas just has to limit the big play. It has failed to do so all season. I'm looking at the stats now. Texas ranks like 98th nationally in passing plays of over 20 plus yards. There have been a lot of chunk plays against Texas this year, and A&M thrives in those situations. I think we all remember Ryan Wingo's like opening touchdown on a screenplay earlier this season. Like A&M loves those situations. Their receivers love and are so good at creating plays after the catch. And Texas is going to have to tackle really well and avoid bust. If they can do that, they have a real shot. If they don't, like, they're probably going to give up a lot of points.
Yeah, this feels like a shootout, doesn't it?
It definitely could go that direction. I think it probably will be. I definitely lean way more points than not. Texas's defense can be really good. It's really good against the run, especially, but these are two teams this season that have really lived and died with the pass. And I think that's going to probably be the case on Saturday. It's going to come down to whichever quarterback and whichever offense moves the ball best.
Yeah. Chip, you got any more Texas A&M questions?
Well, I got to ask him about my man. I mean, SMU, baby, SMU. Drop that hammer on Louisville, and Georgia Tech lost to Pitt Hummer. Now SMU has an 85%. They just got to beat Cal, and they're in the ACC championship, right?
A Cal team that just fired its coach.
A Cal team that just fired its coach. Don't sleepwalk, SMU. I mean, what you think about this? What do you think about them Mustangs?
I mean, who would have? I mean, like, SMU has a legitimate chance to go to the playoff 2 years in a row. That's crazy to say, given where SMU was as a program for such a long period of time. But give Rhett Lashley and that staff a lot of credit. They've put together an elite roster. They've put together a very good roster. There's been elite investment in that program. They've given him the resources he needs to be successful. And I think we saw on Saturday, like, I don't think people realize SMU's been really banged up this season, like really banged up, especially defensively. Kevin Jennings has nursed an ankle injury for much of the year. You saw them coming off a bye and looked like a much different team. And SMU is going to be, I mean, they're already dangerous, obviously. They're one game away from an ACC championship berth, but I don't know who's going to make it on the other side of SMU, because I would expect SMU to win this game on Saturday against Cal. I'm probably picking the Ponies. I have a lot of belief at SMU the rest of the way, and I think they've found some stuff defensively that might carry them through.
You hear that, Zay?
I hear it. I can't believe it, but I hear it. Hummer, if you would have asked me before the season, this Black Friday, I would say, oh yeah, Texas A&M, that's the only game that's important on the Black Friday. But with the Lane Kiffin situation, the Egg Bowl has become even that more important, with, I guess, him announcing what he's going to do the following Saturday. Your thoughts on where Lane Kiffin is and that game?
Lane Kiffin is wherever Lane Kiffin wants to be, I guess, is how I think about Lane Kiffin right now. He's got all the options. I think LSU is definitely the favorite for Lane Kiffin at the moment. I might even say a heavy favorite. Ole Miss is probably running second. Florida's running third. As for the actual game itself, the Egg Bowl is one of the craziest experiences out there. It's almost too bad it's not on Thanksgiving evening anymore. It's just in the morning on Friday, because some of the crazy stuff that has happened over the years is just like a one-on-one. I'll never forget. Who was the player who pissed in the back of the end zone? Not physically pissed, but did the pissing celebration like a dog.
Oh, I know you're talking about. I forgot.
That's just a college football classic. I think this is going to be a close game. I think both these teams have had a bye. I think Mississippi State has had far less distractions. These are two teams susceptible to giving up a lot of yardage defensively. Mississippi State's going to have to score to keep up in this one. I think they're capable of it. Ole Miss wins, but I would be very surprised if it wasn't a one-possession game.
Why is LSU the favorite to you for Lane Kiffin?
That's just kind of what I've heard chatter along the industry. I'm never going to say like it's a definite for Lane Kiffin. I don't think anybody really knows what Lane Kiffin's thinking except for Lane Kiffin, because he changes his mind a lot. But it seems like momentum has definitely swung towards LSU for a variety of reasons.
The Ole Miss player was Elijah Moore.
Oh, Elijah Moore, yeah, future NFL player.
He got down on like a dog and hiked his leg. After
my favorite, sorry, I just Googled it, and ESPN's headline was Ole Miss wide receiver Elijah Moore apologizes for urinating dog celebration. That's just not what you see every day from a headline perspective.
Yeah. Hummer, what other games hold interest to you? What do you expect any kind of craziness that is going to make the committee's job really hard?
I mean, the game definitely holds interest. I know that's another one that Chip pays attention to.
Yeah.
Michigan still really does have a chance to get into the playoff if it wins this game and gets some help. So this game still means a lot. And for Ohio State, it's a chance to break what is a 4-year losing streak. It's been a long time since Ohio State beat Michigan. So that's definitely on the radar. Auburn, Alabama means a lot. Alabama's trying to get in the playoff. DJ Durkin's trying to keep his interim job and make it full time. I'm curious if Vanderbilt can beat Tennessee. I think Diego Pavia has a legitimate chance to win the Heisman. If he plays well against Tennessee, finishes 10-2, Vanderbilt has a chance to make the playoff. That's a huge game on Saturday. I mean, Miami at Pittsburgh in terms of the ACC. Miami's going to have to make a big statement if it hopes to make the playoff. This is a really loaded slate of games. So I'm definitely excited for the weekend. And like even Oregon, Washington, like Oregon's not a sure thing, like to win that game. And I think Oregon probably gets in as a 2-loss team either way, but like they're going to have to look good against Oregon to make it work.
Yeah.
Zay, you got one more?
I do. Hummer Chip Kelly just got the boot from the Vegas Raiders. Do you think with all this crazy coaching carousel stuff going out there and just all these jobs opening that one of these schools will take a shot at Chip Kelly? Because remember, this has been a crazy year. You go from winning a national championship as an offensive coordinator January to getting fired here in November from the Vegas Raiders. So is anybody going to take a shot on old Chip Kelly?
It's too early for me to say that. But if I was a college head coach and I wanted to have a play caller come in my building, I would take a long look at Chip Kelly. I mean, Chip Kelly's made so much money in his career, he could just retire. If Brian Hartline were to get a job, he could have a natural fit back at Ohio State. But if I was any of these top 10 programs nationally and I wanted to kind of take play calling off my plate, I would definitely call Chip Kelly. I'm sure some Texas fans wouldn't mind Chip Kelly like walking in the door and being an advisor to Steve Sarkisian for a season. So he won't lack options.
So you're saying his days as a head coach are over because you just mentioned play calling.
I think the way Chip Kelly's tenure at UCLA ended, I would be surprised if he opted to be a head coach again in this environment.
Okay.
Hummer, have you turned in your predictions yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What do you got for Texas A&M?
I think I had Texas covering and A&M winning. I think I had it as a 3-point game. Let me see specifically. Yeah, I had A&M 27, Texas 24. Okay. I think it could actually end up being a little more high scoring than that, but in rivalry games like this, I think the cover's the safe play, and I just think Texas A&M's been a little more consistent this year, but I would not at all be shocked if Texas pulled the upset on Saturday. Like that is a very possible scenario. But sorry for the Texas fans listening.
Oh no. Hey, listen, this team's been as hard to predict as, an 8-ball, magic 8-ball. Hummer, you're the best. We know you're going 1,000 miles an hour. We'll let you get back at it. Appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving.
A happy Thanksgiving, guys. Eat some mac and cheese for me, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Appreciate you, homie.
All right, there you go.
There he is. Hole-in-one Hummer right there. We got him on today, fortunately, because, again, we will not be on Wednesday and Thursday. Taking Wednesday and Thursday for Thanksgiving. We will be on Friday, but we will be on from 11 to 1 on Friday. So make a note to join your boys for some pregame. We'll get you going. man, what a day it's going to be here on Texas Sports Unfiltered on Friday. You're going to have, of course, Bucky and BK and the normal morning lineup, but we will join it, 11 to 1. And then you'll have the pregame show here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. So we got you covered. Let's
go.
You know who else has you covered? Humann has you covered. Listen, take it from me. I am I'm a tennis player in my 50s, and I've tried supplement after supplement because I'm trying to feel my best. My wife jokes that I'm a collector of supplements, but I'm not collecting them anymore unless you just count all the Humann products that I am taking and loving. And here's the thing. Humann, the reason that it's ultra cool that Humann has these incredible products is because their unique scientific-based formulas were born from research at the University of Texas Health Science Center. You now see the Humann logo. If you're going to the Texas A&M game on Friday, you're going to see that Humann with 2 N's logo on the football field at DKR. And Humann is making it easy for all of us to support our heart health, our cardiovascular health, healthy blood sugar levels, and to support cholesterol health. Because look, it's as simple as what's written on the bottle. Cardiovascular health daily, cholesterol health daily, and metabolic health daily. Each one features Humann's science-backed formulas. And when the 3 products are taken together, they help support healthy vascular function, promote healthy circulation, healthy cholesterol levels, help maintain healthy blood sugar levels, and healthy weight management. And then I got my Super Beats Heart Chews, which help promote, healthy blood pressure, and my turmeric chews, which are anti-inflammation, which is good for all the weekend warriors out there. So listen, just go to humann.com/TSU and use the promo code TSU to get an additional 20% off your first order. And load up. I would absolutely make sure that I'm taking, the cardiovascular, cholesterol, and metabolic Humann products, because these 3 together are going to change your life. And the Super Beats Heart Chews and the turmeric chews. I would get multiple containers and bags because you have nothing to lose. Humann has a 90-day money-back guarantee, but you want to get the most bang for your buck when you get that 20% off your first order. So load up, go to Humann with 2 N's.com and use the promo code TSU. You have nothing to lose and a healthier future to gain. All right, Zay, let's get into it. I see Jose. Love Jose. Jose is always dialed in with his questions. Talked about the 11-39 combined conference record for A&M. Listen, they've done what they're supposed to do. They've won. They found ways to win. That Notre Dame game was unbelievable. I mean, and Marcel Reed, I think, gained so much confidence from that. And when you show you can lead your team on a game-winning drive on the road in a place like Notre Dame and deliver the goods, man, your confidence goes through the roof. And that's Arch Manning talked about that today. So I'm not as concerned about, opponent records and that kind of thing. The eye test tells you that A&M's got receivers who can make yards after catch. And if Marcel Reed is, delivering the ball on target and on time, that A&M's going to make plays. And the Texas defense is going to have to play better than it has, or this could come down to who has the ball last. The over-under is 51.5. So that's like a 27-24 game. I think it's going to be higher than that. I said 34-31 for Texas, Arkansas, and Zay was like, whoa. Turns out I shortchanged those players.
Yeah.
52-37. And so, and by the way, Zay predicted a Texas cover. Zay said 34-20. So that's a winner. I was wrong. Winner for Zay, loser for Chip. Our college picks were not good. We both went 1 and 2.
Damn.
You had Georgia Tech. You had OU. That was a winner. You had USC. That was a loser. I had Cincinnati. That was a loser. I had Kentucky covering against Vanderbilt. Loser.
Damn.
I had SMU, baby. SMU. And then my NFL picks, Steelers, that was a loser. Did the Chiefs win by 3.5?
Nope, they just won by 3.
That's a loser. And I had Dallas plus 3.5. That's a winner. You had Atlanta plus 2.5. That was a winner.
Yes, sir.
They beat New Orleans, right?
Yep.
Kirk Cousins. You had Dallas. That was a winner. And you had New England minus 6.5. Did they cover?
I think so.
Win by 7. Let's see here.
No. You said 6.5?
Yeah, 6.5.
Damn, they won by 6. How does Vegas know this stuff?
How does Vegas know?
God, I can't stand Vegas, man.
How they know? That's crazy.
All right.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. All right. So at least your pro picks. You went 2 and 1.
Yeah,
I may have to give up picking games. I'm doing so bad. I was doing good for a minute, and then it all fell apart. But okay, so Oklahoma took care of business.
God, that game was ugly.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting outgained, but they're finding ways to win. So here's old Oklahoma, who Texas beat 23-6. Still in prime contention. But I'm telling you, there could be craziness this weekend. That committee, there could be craziness this weekend. And it probably will not favor Texas. But if Texas wins, great. But like SMU, that doesn't help Texas. If Michigan beats Ohio State, that doesn't help Texas. But I could see some craziness happening that is going to make this committee's job really hard.
Yeah,
really hard.
BYU winning, that was tough. Utah continuing to win. I mean,
Utah.
What the hell?
I
can't stand Utah.
Who have they beaten?
Exactly.
Nobody.
It was
just stop it with Utah. Like, the committee, what are you doing? What are you thinking? I mean, and Vanderbilt did look great. Kentucky was playing better football and they destroyed Kentucky. Now they got to go to Knoxville, Tennessee. So Texas fans want the Volunteers to win that one and get Vanderbilt out of their way. They want Miami to lose.
They're rooting for Auburn too. They need the Iron Bowl. They need Auburn, Jordan Hare.
Need Auburn to beat Alabama. They need Miami to lose at Pitt. They need Ohio State to beat Michigan. You need Central Florida to knock off BYU. You need Washington to beat Oregon.
Jeez.
You need LSU to beat Oklahoma. Yeah. You need Stanford to beat Notre Dame.
Okay. Yo, Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman must really hate Fran Brown. Like, come on, man. Y'all both brothers. Y'all need to look out for each other a little bit. Marcus Freeman, there ain't too many brothers out here that get these head coaching jobs. You put up 70 on them?
49 at halftime.
You can't call off the dogs a little bit? Run the football. Walk to the line. Snap the ball at 2. 1 second. 70?
70.
70. Remember, Layla Filia went up to Syracuse to be with Jonte Cook. To get beat by 70? Layla Filia.
How's Jonte doing?
How is he doing? We haven't checked in with him. Let's
see how Jonte is doing. Because that was a straight beatdown. Syracuse is 3-8. And Jonte Cook is the leading receiver, barely.
You said barely.
He's got 42 catches for 521 yards and 2 touchdowns. But my man Daryl Gill Jr., he's got 32 catches for 506 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I'm sure Jonte is not happy that he only has 2 touchdown catches.
Yeah.
While 2 other receivers each have 5 touchdown catches.
I'm sure Uncle Dennis ain't happy either. Remember Uncle Dennis?
Oh, yeah.
Called the post-game show. After your Mustangs, ACC matchup, your Mustangs beat the Orange down there in Dallas. And Uncle Dennis, since Jonte's from Dallas, a lot of family at the game. Uncle Dennis was there. Uncle Dennis did not like the product that he saw, and he had to make it known. Had to make it known. Had no choice. He had no choice, man. This is a catastrophe. My nephew ain't getting looks. Who the hell's this quarterback here? Give my nephew the ball. You want to get beat by 70, maybe if they gave the ball to Jonte Cook more. But damn, yeah. Jeremiah Love, talk about Heisman. That fool only had like 8 carries.
What is going on?
$120 or something like that. 3 touchdowns.
Marcus Freeman, what are you doing? Help your guy.
What, you want him to get more carries?
Yeah.
No, Marcus Freeman. That's, you know how I feel about Marcus Freeman. Like, in any chance I get to,
you don't like him because of his hair, for God's sake.
Yeah, but
how about the fact that he might be the best coach in college football?
Yo, you ain't lying about that. That might be facts. But if he wasn't at Notre Dame, you wouldn't even hear me talk about that ridiculous fake ass hairline that he has. But
he's only got 1,300 yards rushing. Hell yeah, he needs more carries.
I mean, I think you need the dude for the college football playoff just a little bit. So I get it. You gotta,
dude only has 185 carries.
Hey, I think Jeremiah Love would trade a natty for a Heisman Trophy any day of the week. So
that dude's averaging 7.1 yards per carry. Like, that is nasty. And everybody is lining up to stop him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how many receptions he got.
Yeah,
he got
the poles too.
Yeah, he's got 26 catches. 26 catches, 3 touchdown catches. Okay. All right. I see you, Jeremiah Love. Yeah, man.
Yeah. He hit the pose too. I feel him. When you hit the pose, let them know. Yeah. You're a voter. That's what we hit it for, people like you. Yeah. Y'all see me? Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of film to watch.
Yeah. Are you started already? Or
oh yeah. Yep. I was checking on my defensive guys. I'm checking on all my defensive guys.
What defensive guys?
I mean, everyone from, Cassius Howell to David Bailey to Jacob Rodriguez to I always do the deep dive.
I appreciate that.
If we just go quarterbacks, what are we doing? Especially in a year like this.
No, the people appreciate that. See, we need more Heisman voters like you because not everybody thinks like you. Obviously, which is a problem.
Right. I mean, do your homework. Get down in it, Yeah. All right, let's get to the chip shot. Listen, surprise, surprise. I'm going to talk about Arch Manning today. The boy accounted for 6 touchdowns against Arkansas. Now, here's the thing. This dude, after the Florida game, the New York Times comes out with that headline is Arch Manning, the first flop in college football. And everybody's piling on the guy because he's been up and down. Then he beats Oklahoma, looks good, 21-27. Then he goes to Kentucky and looks lost again. And you're like, oh God, is he going to get out of his own head? And then today he said everything started to turn in that fourth quarter against Mississippi State. He's like, you're down 17. You got to dig deep. And that's what he did. And he led that comeback. He gets concussed in the first play of overtime. He doesn't even get the credit. He doesn't even get to finish off a game that really ignited the close to his season. But, and everyone's like, oh my God, Matt Caldwell's so good. He walks in and he throws a perfect fade route. And you know what Arch Manning did? He just kept grinding, kept getting those ice baths after games, kept saying he was 10 toes down with his offensive line. Even when the coaches are playing ring around the rosy at left guard. And Arch, over the last 4 games is playing ridiculous football. And, since Florida, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And what we saw against Arkansas was a guy who got into the zone, who has now developed a rapport with Ryan Wingo, Emmett Mosley, DeAndre Moore. DeAndre Moore needed some love, and he got 3 touchdowns. So now he's feeling good about things. I mean, he wanted to break Jordan Shipley's, single season touchdown record. That ain't happening. But now you look at DeAndre Moore, and he's got 4 touchdown catches. Wingo's got 6. Parker Livingston's got 6. Mosley's got 3. Things are getting spread out a little bit. And, Jack Endries, he got 2 touchdown catches. So, but the bottom line is Arch Manning is doing what his team needs to do to win. And Steve Sarkisian gave him some sugar. They ran that, Philly special. Sarkisian said Parker's a former baseball player, so he's like, he can throw on the run, because that's what baseball players do. Now he, put it up there a little high. Arch had to go get it, but Arch was like, hey man, I've given him so many bad balls earlier this season. He probably owed me one. I thought that was hilarious. But, I asked Arch Manning today about his resolve, and he said, if you're going to play quarterback, you got to be the most confident player on the field. And so I just had to keep working to get there. And he was asked about, do you feel like you can be more of a vocal leader after the game? He said, yeah. It's kind of hard to be a vocal leader when you're playing like garbage. And Sark was telling him, hey, I still need you to lead because you've earned it. But Arch now feels like, Sarkisian said it, you can see his body language is different. It's different in pregame. It's different during the game. He's talking to his teammates. He's getting them going. And Trevor Gooseby said today, I would die for that guy. Like, he said he's been through all kinds of crap this year. And he's like, I would die for that guy. So there's some really good things happening right now for Arch Manning, for this offense at a time where Texas would love to end this regular season with another win over A&M and take some momentum into whatever is next for Texas. And look, Arch Manning playing at a high level is going to just get the hype machine going again. And don't be surprised if the hype machine, depending on how Texas ends the season, gets cranked up again to where Arch might be the Heisman favorite going into next year. All the same stuff. But you know what? Now he's ready for it. Now he's been through it. Now he knows how to tone it out, tune it out, turn it down, and probably be like, I'm never paying attention to that bleep again. Like, let me just get in this bunker with my guys and let's go. So what he's doing over these last 4 games is impressive, because when the whole world is taking shots at you after that Florida game, I remember turning on Get Up, that show on ESPN with Mike Greenberg. Arch, disaster, and all this stuff. And it's just like everyone was, they couldn't wait to pile on Arch. And it's funny, he'll come into these press conferences and he'll be like, oh, they were saying that about me? Like, I mean, it's funny. And he's got a good sense of humor. It's cool to see him getting it done on the field where it matters most to him. But after that Florida game, he did not miss a snap of practice in preparing for Oklahoma. And his teammates never forgot it. They bring it up every time. And that dude's a warrior. He's probably still got bruises from that Florida game.
Yeah.
That are visible on his body. But that dude is taking big steps to the point where I think Steve Sarkisian feels like his team's best chance to win is having Arch Manning sling it all over the place. So we'll see how that goes, because A&M does a pretty good job of possessing the football. They're averaging 32 minutes of time of possession. Texas is only averaging 28, and it may not seem like much, but then when you look at, the time of possessions, like just the last 2 games alone, Georgia had it 35 minutes. Texas had it 24 minutes. Arkansas had it 34 minutes. Texas had it 25 minutes and change. I mean, this defense has been on the field. So Arch Manning is going to need to put points up on that board and see if that defense can get enough stops. But unbelievable transformation. Kudos to Arch Manning for putting up with all the negativity, getting through it, grinding, and getting out, to the other side. And the whole world's going to be watching on Friday. He can retell the story. He can change the narrative to where everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, there's Arch. He's figured it out. Texas is going to have a quarterback next year.
Yeah, I agree, man. His toughness, and I just love his demeanor and like understanding and reading the room. Like, nah, hell no, I can't lead because I ain't done nothing yet. Like, I know Sark wants him to, but come on now. When you're the quarterback, your teammates already look at you like you get special treatment because you do. Like, you don't get hit in practice. There's just a lot of things that those guys, when it comes to in the trenches and the skill positions, that they have to endure that the quarterback doesn't. So you have to earn that respect in certain ways. And him showing his toughness, being knocked down just on a consistent rate and bouncing back up and continuing to get better and better and better. There's reason why Trevor Goosby's out here saying that he died for the man. So, yeah, like Arch Manning, he's done everything the right way. And as difficult as this season has been at times, he's gotten past it. And now this is what we were expecting. We were expecting this guy coming in with just the Manning last name and all the measurements to match. Dude, 6'4", 230, and he's hard to get down now that he's really understanding the game. Like, even though this offensive line is leaky, I think he knows that, and he knows he has to make quick decisions no matter what play is called, and he's athletic enough to get out of sticky situations like we saw against Arkansas. Will he be athletic enough to get out of those sticky situations against this Mike Elko defense? We'll see on Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
All right, let's get the right call.
Let's get it. Before that, though, got to give a shout out to Covert Bee Cave, the best car dealership in the business. It's Thanksgiving week, man. A lot of y'all are going to be traveling out there, and you can't travel in a bootleg car that you don't feel comfortable in, that can just break down on you at any moment. That is a very stressful feeling. Nobody deserves to go through that, and you don't deserve it either. Get over to Covert Bee Cave and let them find a vehicle for you, like they did for my wife and I for the Buick Encore GT that we absolutely love. Be like us, get over there, new, pre-owned, it doesn't matter. They will take care of you, and they'll find something that fits your budget, that fits your family for the next 10 plus years or so, because that's how it should be. Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Cadillac, all the brands, they got them, and they will find exactly what you're looking for. So if you want to start early before you touch down at the dealership, go to covertbcave.com, see all the latest specials and inventory. Shout out to my man Jerome, Marcus, Daniel, and the rest of the team at Covert Bee Cave. It wasn't about making that quota. It wasn't no just sketchy user car salesman tactic. None of that. We felt comfortable during our process. It was easy, stress-free, and we got it done. Be like us too. Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Ship. I got to do my Diego Pavia mom update because she was on one on Saturday night watching her boy beat the hell out of them Kentucky Wildcats. Man, old Pavia, she lubed up a little bit. Look at her. Look at her dancing. She got the football in her hand, man. She on the rail. You know what I'm saying? She's showing a little leg. That's my girl, man. I love this woman. She is having a blast. Like, this is what parenting should be, because her son out here is thriving. Right now, he's in the Heisman conversation. He's out here. Him and Clark Lee are arguing on the sideline because Diego's out here like, coach, leave me in the fourth quarter, bro. We're going after this Heisman. And Clark Lee had to tell him, yo, you're not going back in the game. Like, we actually have college football playoff aspirations. I need you for that. We can't pat your stats now, even though you want to. But yeah, man, look at her, this mama, Antoinette. Like, people are going after her. People are calling her classless and just every wrong name in the book that I completely disagree with. What is wrong with a mother having fun, supporting her boy, thriving? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So what? She looks good. That's why they really mad, Ship. They mad. They mad she looks good.
Leave her alone. She's having a good time.
Yeah, like, We just hating because she a fine-ass woman. Stop that. Antoinette, do your thing, girl. I'm rooting for you. Like, come on. Her boys are bad as hell. It was hard raising them kids. Them kids bad as hell. Them brothers that be getting locked up all the time. One of them was about to fight at DKR when Vanderbilt was in town a couple of weeks ago. They got that on film. It was a lot. It was a lot. And now her kids are becoming successful. I love them stories, man.
Has Jesse forgiven you for offering to let Antoinette stay at your place when Vanderbilt came to town?
Forgive me for what?
Oh.
What's wrong with allowing someone to stay at your place for a good rate? I was just looking out.
Oh, for a good rate. Okay.
Rate. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you were like,
she's nice. She's a nice person. She understood. It didn't happen, but she understood. She understands my heart. You know what I'm saying? Just if Antoinette needed a place to stay, we had a bed available. That's all I'm saying. What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. By the way, you'll probably be asleep tonight, but I won't. Texas basketball, Maui Invitational, 10:30 tip-off Central tonight. Good grief, man. I'll be locked in, though. I'll be locked in. Bobby Hurley, you remember Bobby Hurley, those Duke days, Dan Hurley's brother, which is ironic because Bobby, he was the household name back at Duke before he got into that motorcycle accident when he was in the NBA. Bobby would have had a 10-year career. Bobby was good, man. People forget how good Bobby Hurley was for those Duke teams. And now his brother Dan Hurley, obviously the better coach, winning 2 national championships at UConn. But the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Bobby Hurley, he could coach a little bit too. He just doesn't have the same resources at Arizona State that his brother does at UConn. But tonight, man, should be a good game. They got a center there at Arizona State. Diop, African brother, 7 foot, freshman. The dude could play. He's one of those guys that he's on NBA scouts' radar because he's young, he's raw, and you know how I feel about Africa, Chip. They're over there. There's a ton of them. You just got to do it. You just got to work. Like, that's one thing I'll give credit to Sean Miller for. He will go to Africa. It shows. He's got Lucina on the team already. So, you know, you can find one of them African brothers. They will help when you bring them to the state.
Hey, Jordan Pope, get the ball to Cam and Heidi. Quit messing around.
Quit messing around. Yeah, let's see if Cam Heidi could, you know, feed off of that momentum that he had in the last game, which I hope they start him tonight. I don't know what the status is on Nick Cody coming back from that groin injury that he suffered. I don't know if that was a cautious thing or if he'll be available tonight, but you know how I feel about the situation. Like, Nick Cody, your time will come, but right now I got to bring you off the bench. Like Cam Heidi, even though he's an undersized power forward on this starting lineup, his ability to shoot the three opens up so much more for this offense, from Mathis to Dalen Swain to your boy Jordan Pope. So I would start Cam Heidi tonight and see what happens. But yeah, man, it's about nap o'clock right after this show, since your boy's gonna be up for this damn 10:30 tip-off. But yeah, man, should be fun. Maui Invitational's tough though. No matter what, you got 3 games in 3 days. So it's gonna test your, it's gonna test your stamina. And another thing to note, Arizona State, they've been in Hawaii for almost a week now. They played Hawaii last week. So they just been chilling, drinking pina coladas, eating jerk chicken or whatever the hell they eat down there in Hawaii, eating poke for the last few days. So they, Texas, they touched down yesterday, I think. Maybe Saturday night. I don't know for sure. So they haven't had as much time to enjoy what Hawaii brings. Arizona State has. Look at that for tonight's game.
Yeah, they flew out Saturday.
Yeah. Arizona State beat Hawaii University, I think, last Thursday. So they've just been chilling since. So look out for that.
All right, let's open up the gym. this Thanksgiving week.
What up, guys?
Week, fellas.
Happy Thanksgiving week, you guys. It's a short week for us, but a fun one. Yeah, Zay, I saw that Arizona State-Hawaii game after Thursday Night Football a week ago. There's the only game left on TV, and so I was like, let me go put that. And I was like, wait a minute, they're already there.
Smart. That's smart.
About it. So they're down there hanging out on the beach, have all the fun, and then go focus on basketball.
Yeah, it's good bonding too for your young team. Like that was a smart move by Bobby Hurley for scheduling that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I know we saw on all the Texas players' Instagrams. We started to get beach pics yesterday, so they at least gotten a little bit out there on the beach. So we starting to see that they're letting them enjoy it a little bit before they just spend the rest of it in the gym.
The business trip, fellas. Business trip. Got to get better. Damn it.
Hey,
Appreciate you, man.
Put that suntan lotion away. All right.
Appreciate you guys. See y'all tomorrow. Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text lines open 512-222-9328. Of course, over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Matt, we got a short week this week. We are on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll be off the rest of the week. On Friday, shows will be back on the air on Texas Sports Unfiltered, but because our show is during when pregame would be, we will not be doing a show on Friday. Let Matt get down to the game and get ready and be ready to cover the game as well. So we will not be doing a show on Friday. So we're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So a lot to get into this week, Matt. We have to get into it. So let's just BS for the next 25 minutes and just waste time. It'd be great, right?
Yeah. Talk about how Arch Manning is the best quarterback in college football, maybe.
We're just gonna start off just trying to. I don't want to jinx it. That's why I'm not trying to go too far on that bandwagon. I'm like, look, his stats are great. There's been a lot of great things he has done. I think his future is very, very bright, but I'm not going to jinx anything until we get through the rest of the season. We'll say let's just stay on the level-headed. Arch is doing a good job, and I hope he continues to do a good job. But he did a great job against Arkansas. What we saw Arch Manning starting to gain some more confidence. Now, granted, that Arkansas secondary was not very good, but you're still playing an SEC team. These are the teams that Marcel Reed has been playing against all season long, is teams maybe without the best secondaries. That is a lot of what they've played. They played the lower end of the SEC. So you're going into a game where you may still, even with all the hype and everything else, you're right, may have the better quarterback in this matchup coming this week and the final week of college football.
Well, I mean, I think that you're absolutely right. Arch has played not the best defenses in the world over the last few weeks. Georgia, I thought he played really well in that football game. The unfortunate fact of the matter is nobody else played really well in that football game. So that made things a little bit more difficult for him to be successful. You had 6 to 8 drops. Your offensive line was abysmal, and all of those different things in there. But also, if you look at Texas A&M's schedule and Marcel Reed, it's literally the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the SEC are the teams that they played in the SEC this year, the bottom half. So I still think it's a very good football team. I still think it's a very dangerous football team, particularly the way that it matches up against Texas. But let's give Arch Manning the credit where credit's due. If you really look at his game log throughout the year, he's had 3 bad football games. He played really bad in the first half, particularly against Ohio State. He played really bad against UTEP. He played really bad against Kentucky. The other 8 games of the season, he's been very good. And I think that narrative of those first 3 games was taken with and ran with by the internet that he's some big bust quarterback, and he's not. He has made progression after progression over the last few weeks, especially. He's learned to operate very well inside of dirty pockets, particularly against Arkansas. I know that the stats say that the offensive line played well in that game. He still had very dirty pockets. He had to break multiple sacks in that game to make plays, and he did that. So I think that this is probably going to be his biggest challenge in terms of the pass rush that he's going to face since probably the Florida game, or maybe the Oklahoma game. But he deserves some credit. His stats, if you look at them just statistically for the season, he is right up there with every Heisman contender right now. The only player in that group that has more touchdowns than him is Fernando Mendoza. He has the most passing yards out of anybody except for Julian Sayin in that group. So give him credit. He deserves it. This is still going to be a very tough matchup.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's he does deserve that credit. He does deserve the credit for growing on the road, growing as the season goes on, and continuing to play in these games and having all the pressures and learn to adapt to that. Like, that's one of those pieces that maybe got taken for granted at points this season and people weren't talking about as much, but you're like, you can, when we got the questions early in the season, like what, he needs to call his uncles, or he needs to, what did he learn from these fundamentals and what do we teach him? And you go, you can teach him all day long about throwing a football. And when someone's running at you, it's different. And playing at a lower level of high school football, he just didn't have enough experience of really running for his life and trying to avoid the sacks and the pocket presence. But I mean, if we just want to talk about pocket presence and the difference of how he moves around in that pocket now and the moves he made to avoid some sacks in the game on Saturday, man. And we saw him, where people were, the offensive line did well enough to let them only get a hand on him, and he did well enough to maneuver in that pocket. Whereas if we look into last year, we know Quinn Ewers just never really had a feel for that. He was never anybody who really had great pocket presence to feel where everybody was coming from. Arch seems to have that in spades right now. He seems to have it where he is just moving around pretty well in that pocket, keeping his eyes downfield. He's hitting passes after moving around in a pocket. Those are really high-level things that I wouldn't have even expected him to be able to do after watching him earlier this season. So his progression's really good. And shout out to AJ Milwee, shout out to Sark for getting the progression for two guys that were lambasted about Quinn Ewers, that his progress went backwards and they don't know how to develop quarterbacks, which is just, it's anti-recruiting stuff. It's stuff because they're trying to get the same quarterbacks Texas. But all that, these guys cannot develop a quarterback. This season should tell you, okay, those guys developed Arch pretty well throughout the season. Maybe they didn't get it done in time, which is a on-standing problem that we have talked about all season long, that they weren't ready for week one and they really weren't ready to start the SEC play. But if we look at what they've done now at the quarterback position, I think the progress speaks for itself.
Yes, and I think you have to give a lot of credit to Sark and AJ Milwee in particular over the last few weeks for changing the way that this offense approaches every game. The play action, deep shot, everything 15 yards downfield, long developing type stuff is seemingly a thing of the past for the most part. They've realized that they need to get the ball out quickly and utilize Arch's strengths because he is their offensive MVP and it's not even close. So they have moved to those things. And if you heard Sark today at the press conference, which I don't know if we're getting into the audio there or not, I can't remember, but he was asked, are you going to try to establish the running game in this one? And he said, we are going to do whatever it takes to win the football game, which to me means we are going to throw that thing around the field all day long. Arch is going to have to throw for 400. Yeah. And that's how we're going to have our best opportunity to win this game. And I agree with them. He's your best player. Utilize him as much as you possibly can. And yes, Hair of the Dog, he was the first Texas quarterback ever to do that. And he's also the first SEC quarterback to do that since Dak Prescott in 2014. He had an unbelievable day. And I had so many Oklahoma fans in my mentions over the weekend, Patrick, because I was talking all kinds of shit on X, and it was glorious. One of the tweets that I had was that Arch Manning, this is after his 5th touchdown, Arch Manning has half as many touchdowns in this game as John Mateer has passing touchdowns this entire season. He now has more than half of in that game after the 6th touchdown. So It's really unbelievable stuff. He's been very, very good. And you know, I don't like to gloat too much. I'm not an I told you so guy. I'm really not.
But I told you so.
But I told everybody to be patient. I told everybody that he would eventually figure it out and it would be fine and the coaching staff would adjust.
This is why we don't have to take a ton of credit. That's not that was not a wild take. It wasn't. This is a young player who doesn't have a lot of reps. If you watch what he's doing, they're very fixable things. He will be fine. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, we can say we said it. A lot of people said it because they were not irrational people. And I get sports makes people irrational. I'm aware. Mm-hmm. I'm a very irrational person watching games. I take that in and I become more rational with every hour that passes afterwards. And then by the time we get on the air on Monday, I'm a pretty rational person about a lot of these things. But in the moment, yes, I am in the moment just the same way. Just I process it faster because I try not to let my life be completely ruined by a thing that has in the past completely ruined points of my life. So that's why I try and be more rational and try and get to it. But I think a lot of people saw it that way. And you know, you got people that were just trying to be the same people that are trolls or the same people that are trying to make a career out of just every big way we can sell something. What's the headline? Does it have to be true? No, but what's the headline? Biggest flop. You're like, okay, all right. That's again, just shows me you don't know ball if you thought he was going to be the biggest flop after not giving him an entire season. Mm-hmm. I think JJ McCarthy's having a bad year in the NFL. I'm still not saying he's the biggest flop because I still think there's time for him to change. Now, I would not predict him to have the turnaround like I predicted it for Arch, but at the same part, I'm not like, you don't just go, oh, well, he's played in like 6 NFL games. He should be best. He should be a surebred starter by now. You think, hey, there's a lot of things not like about what he's done, but he has time. And with all, had to give him time where if you wanted to accentuate the negatives, sure, he was going to be really bad. You see him accentuating the positives now. We see them working. One of the big pieces you see in this game for me, 4 different receivers with receptions over 20 yards.
Yep.
That's something that you don't necessarily see. Actually, 5 had over 20, 4 averaged over 20 in this, but you saw a long pass for Parker Livingstone's 54. A 30-yarder to Emmett Mosley. You had a 22-yarder for Ryan Wingo, a 46-yarder for DeAndre Moore, a 35-yarder for Jack Indries. Like when you see that, when you see them starting to get downfield, and again, that's pocket presence. It's way that they're using this offensive line to not be great, but finding the plays that maybe they can get Arch to get the ball out and get a guy downfield quicker, having faster developing deeper routes. Because Sark loves really complex ones. They kind of simplified it a little bit to get some of these guys downfield a little bit quicker and try and get the ball out because you could do that against an Arkansas defense that wasn't just going to be able to hang with them. Now, against A&M, it could be different, but you were able to get those done. And we also saw, again, Sark's keeping it alive, Matt. First play of the game.
Gotta love it.
Play of the game was the screen to Wingo. You even heard it in the booth. Jesse Palmer's like, well, let's see if they do it. They called it. Yeah, they do. It's like you had to do it though. You couldn't not do it against Arkansas because you have to set it up for whatever you're going to do against A&M, which may be just running that play again, or it may be chunking it downfield. We don't know, but it's that is we got to see that one again, Matt. Which you did call on the show on Friday. That you thought they got to do it.
Well, I think it was a pretty safe bet.
It was.
It was. And to his credit, they've done it in a couple of different ways. It hasn't been the exact same play, same result, which is the important thing. But, you know, the thing that's impressive about what Arch did outside of being the first Texas quarterback to do the touchdowns in 3 different ways, outside of the career high 389,
outside of the SEC high 52 points.
Outside of the SEC high 52 points, there was a lot left out there as well because Emmett Mosley dropped a couple, Parker Livingston dropped one. There was also, you know, his adjusted completion percentage was a lot higher because of those drops. The way that he was able to shed those sacks and keep plays alive, keep his eyes downfield, go through his progressions, and still make a big play. And I think that my favorite thing that has been kind of brought about his performance against Arkansas is like, oh, well, that's a that's a 2-8 football team, and that's the worst defense in the SEC. Well, yes, those things are true.
Yeah.
On their face. But when you really dive into it a little bit deeper, Arkansas was in like 6 one-score games in SEC play up until Texas. I think Texas is the only team that has in the SEC that has beaten them by double digits. And yes, Arkansas's defense is bad, but you still have to be able to attack those busted coverages and recognize them when you're facing pressure and keep your eyes downfield so that you can see them and then make the throw to hit them when somebody's, you're leaning back to make the throw because you got a guy in your face. Those things are very, very important. And let's be honest as well. The score was 52-23 when Texas put their backups in, and the backups gave up 2 scores.
Yeah.
So that was really a blowout. And you got to give the Texas defense credit too for locking things down in the second half, getting Talon Green to get benched, I think was a big deal for them. And they made a big change as well. They benched Jalen Gilbo and started Cade Phillips, and he was really good. So a lot of credit to go around to this Texas team. But
yeah, and look, I'll say, it's been a game where we haven't seen Texas necessarily consistently come out and play like that. And you like the fact that they started out scoring touchdowns. And that's how they push it out. The second quarter kind of goes down. They come out in that third quarter. They score 3 touchdowns in the third quarter and only allow a field goal. So what they did coming out of halftime, when that's going to be, by the way, a huge point against Texas A&M this weekend or this Friday, is going to be what you do coming out of halftime, because we've seen A&M not play full games this season. We've seen them let some teams stick around or some teams take a lead, like South Carolina sticks out clearly. They were down big, and then they came out of halftime and were great. Mike Elko makes good adjustments. Let's put it that way.
Yes,
and so they're going to do those things to show that you could come out in that locker room and be ready to go and score those 3 touchdowns. Be ready to hit that. And your defense played better to start the second half than they had been playing. So in all of the world of it, it feels like you saw the positives you wanted to see in this game. I get you let up too many points. The 14 points in the fourth quarter, they were busted, but every time you'd see who busted the play, you were like, wait, why is that guy in the game?
Yeah, if Graham Gillespie is getting a bust in coverage because you're up 4 scores in the fourth quarter, I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah. And then, a huge play in the game that is really probably the biggest play in this game, Matt, is the targeting call on Tyson and Anthony Simpson.
Oh, Ty Anthony Smith. Yeah. It's targeting by the letter of the law.
It is. It's really, it's not intent by any means. He didn't launch. He didn't lower his helmet, really. He didn't hit crown of him, but still it is. And that's why it's frustrating.
It's frustrating. They tried to appeal it. It was denied. So he will miss the first half of the A&M game, which is big because he's a big third down linebacker for them. He's one of their more athletic linebackers. So that's going to be a big loss in the first half. Good news is Steve Sarkisian said after the game on Saturday that Anthony Hill will be back. So you will have Anthony Hill in this football game, which will cover that to an extent in the first half. And maybe he has to be on the field a little bit more in the first half than normal. But I think that if you're going to have a player that you need to play a few more snaps than you'd like to, it's Anthony Hill.
Yeah. Well, and hell, I mean, this could be Anthony Hill's last college football game in all reality. It could be, because if you say Texas doesn't make the playoffs, he's not playing in the bowl game.
Yeah. Most
likely. He would.
I wouldn't if I was him.
Yeah, especially if you're coming off an injury with a broken bone in your hand. You're most likely not playing in that game. So this could very easily be one where he's like, I'm fine. Give me a few more snaps in this one. Let's go beat A&M. Let's go have that. So if those are all the situations that you're in for Anthony Hill, I get that. But yeah, that was a big piece. We know his update today was there's no update. We haven't practiced yet. We'll practice this afternoon. So there was no update today. But after the game, he did imply that he would be back after. He'd be back next week. It felt like he was somewhat close. They just didn't want to push it against Arkansas. They felt they could win. They did win. So they move on with that one. But yeah, I mean, overall, Matt, for this Arkansas game, what we saw was the part of this game, or the part of this team that's so weird, is how this team is developed throughout this season. And the team is developed, and there's a clip I'll play here in a second too about where Sark's kind of talking about it, but he doesn't really. But I don't know if we know what the identity is for the Longhorns this season, because it hasn't been the same thing throughout the season. Started off, and it was a defensive-led team, and this defense was everything. And then the offense was way, way behind on it. The offense has picked that up, but they're still not a run game. So they're not a all-encompassing, let's go get them offense. And now the defense has shown that they are vulnerable, and you hope that you figure out a way to play a little bit more aggressive against an Aggie team that's coming to town, that you do not just play prevent defense for 4 quarters, because they have the types of players that play for the Aggies at wide receiver will score touchdowns when you do that. Not just have explosive plays, will score touchdowns when you do that. That's what they have. They have those guys. So it is something where you have to be able to hope that Cade Phillips is somebody they feel is more ready to be in that position, that, maybe tested out a few different things. You hope that Anthony Hill comes back and helps out in that run game. We won't know if Le'Veon Moss is going to be able to play in this game yet. We won't really. I don't think I have an injury report
on that, actually.
You do have an update? Because I know that he did not play in this game, but neither did Ruben Owens, but he was suited. He just didn't play. But Le'Veon Moss wasn't ready. He hasn't played since October, right?
Yeah. So Mike Elko in his media availability today basically said probably not. We'll evaluate it as the week goes, but he probably won't play.
Okay.
Ruben Owens and Mario Craver, both of whom missed the game against Samford, will both play. He said they were good and they're good to go. So probably not Le'Veon Moss, but Ruben Owens and Mario Craver will be ready to go. And then that's 2 of their most explosive players on the team. This is a Texas A&M offense that, Patrick, you nailed it right on the head. If you give them an inch of space or you bust a coverage, they will score a touchdown. They are the most explosive offense in the SEC in terms of the wide receiver position. Both of those guys are in Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion are unbelievable in space, and they are incredibly fast, and they make guys miss. Ashton Bethel-Roman is a young guy who's come along and has also become a very explosive player. They've got a do-it-all guy in Terry Bussey. So there's a lot of explosive weapons out there on the outside, which, given what the Texas secondary has given up over the past few weeks, is a very, very big concern.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to get too far into A&M today. Tomorrow's going to be all A&M stuff, believe me. But we will say that, so there's 2 sides to this A&M team that we have seen. And maybe they're not what I'm going to say, but they haven't shown it as much. This is an A&M team that is extremely slippery. It's an A&M team that can get away from you in a heartbeat and make big explosive plays. But they're not the most physical team on the planet. Now, they play well defensively. I'm not saying that defensively, but offensively, they're not a super physical team. And if you take Le'Veon Moss out, he's their most physical runner. That's the guy that they would use to be their physical. So if he's not there, you're saying you have a lot of guys who are slippery and hard, but if you can go hit them and be the more physical team, that's how you can cause them to start making mistakes. And that is how you try and pressure this team. So you cannot allow them all the space, because then that's what they do best. That's what they do. And when you put these Texas defenders on their heels, which is what they were in the Arkansas game a lot, they're on their heels, not on their toes, because they're backing up. When the ball's being thrown, they're backing up when the ball's getting thrown, and that's not what you want to see. You want to see them moving forward when the ball is thrown. That is how you can start to attack this A&M team, trying to be a more physical, more experienced defense than they are an offense, that you really bring that power to them. Now, that's easier said than done, because, again, it's really hard to hit guys hard when they're constantly moving and fast. So all of that. But when you're bumping guys at the line, when you're playing in those types of positions, and when you're just trying to make the wide receivers feel you, when you're trying to make a running back let you know that you're there, that's what Texas is going to have to do against A&M, because they're going to be fast. They're going to be elusive. They've got burst, speed, all of those things. But they're not like Arkansas was all big guys, right? Everyone in Arkansas was like over 6 feet tall. Everyone had size on Arkansas. A&M's a little bit different. There's guys that have some height, but there's a lot of skinnier guys on A&M. There's a lot of guys that they're shifty, but they're not necessarily guys that you walk down the street and go, oh, that's a football player.
Yeah, I mean,
at least offensively, I'll say.
Yeah, they've gone all in offensively on speed and explosiveness. I mean, Marcel Reed is the quarterback is the same way. The running backs right now without Le'Veon Moss are the same way. All of the receivers are that way. They've shifted to and I know you don't want to get too into it, so I'll keep it short. They've shifted to a quick one read RPO type offense that gets the explosive players the balls early and in space and lets them work. And it's worked really well for them this year. I think the team that played them the best in terms of slowing down this offense with physicality and matching their athleticism was Auburn, and Texas A&M won that game 16-10 because Auburn had bad quarterback play, and Texas A&M was able to take advantage of that with their pass rush and and Torian York was basically calling out every play that Auburn was running because Hugh Freeze's offense was awful. So Texas can have some success against this offense if they are able to limit the explosives. But what they can't do is do what they did against Georgia to try to limit those explosives, which is give them cushion and let them catch the ball early and often. No. That will not work against this team. So you have to take a completely different approach.
By the way, we'll get to other games in a minute. But, Joe, I'll tell you, SEC Tomato Can Week is not a fun week. We were watching the game with some friends. A buddy came over, and we're like, it's the end of college football, and it sucks because no one was really watching games this weekend. Like, there wasn't as many people hanging out because there wasn't a great slate of games. So no one was having the party but you're like, dude, we only get a couple more weeks of this, and then it's like playoffs and both. We got to enjoy while we can. So I had some friends over, we made some wings. It was great. But the SEC Tomato Can Week, I will tell you, Joe, we will be joining sooner rather than later. As soon as SARC and CDC can change around our conference schedule or non-conference schedule and start to figure that out and talk with the SEC and get all those weeks set up, they're going to move and put a game back there because SARC's already said, I don't want it. I'll schedule the High non-conference, but I don't want if we're watching A&M basically get a bye week after playing the worst team in the conference in South Carolina, and I know that they took them to the limit, but they're still playing the worst team in the conference in South Carolina. And then the next week, you play Samford, and Texas plays Georgia rivalry game. And I get Arkansas is not great either, but it's a rivalry game. South Carolina ain't for A&M. When you say that, he just goes, I'd just rather have that break. Just to rather have that break to try and get healthy, where I didn't have to worry about playing Anthony Hill. Could have just been like, he ain't playing this week. We're good. So I think that will happen eventually because that Sark just wants it to be that way.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works out with the new schedule with the 9-game thing.
That's true. You're also getting another game too.
Yeah, and like, if I'm being completely honest, I've stopped worrying about the SEC Tomato Can Week thing because those teams play tougher games earlier in the season than you do, and they have to make room. Some of them, like Georgia, for example, and Florida, have to make room in their schedule for a non-con at the end of the year anyway. Yeah. So it is what it is. Like it worked out for you last year. It didn't work out for you this year.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I don't mind it really about the other stuff because I get the way it is, and that's just the way it is in the ACC, and that's not us. It sucks as a fan because there wasn't a lot of great football to watch yesterday. Yeah. But other than that.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, this could, and this is just me kind of playing devil's advocate here, what if this actually benefits Texas more than it does A&M?
It could. It very well could.
What if Texas A&M had the real tough game against South Carolina, and then they just kind of took their foot off the gas? They're like, we got Samford coming in this week. We can relax.
We got the SEC Texas game coming up, and we got that game we got to worry about. We've got the playoffs to worry about.
And now Texas has to grind and get into the toughest part of their schedule. And maybe that gives them more momentum and more, of an advantage over Texas A&M. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. It could not be that way, but it's something to think about.
For the record, taking a bye week before Georgia didn't help us. So just saying.
Texas was bad out of both bye weeks this year.
Yes. And this one right here, I'll tell you. Do I think A&M's cocky? Yeah, they're undefeated. They should be cocky. Anyone who's undefeated should be cocky. I have no problem with that. We would be just as loud and cocky if we were undefeated. I get that we would have beaten Ohio State at that point and Georgia, so we would have more realm. They haven't. They played one top 10 team. I think that's it. That's like, I get it. I get that there's holes, but they're undefeated. They've done what was in front of them as the players. That to me was the way to go. That was it.
Here's I saw this stat. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. Comparing Texas to Notre Dame. Actually, let's not even get into comparing Texas to Notre Dame. Texas A&M has played Notre Dame, and that's the one good team they've played this year. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Notre Dame has beaten one ranked team, and the rest of their schedule ostensibly has losing records or is close to 500. They have not played a tough schedule whatsoever. So we don't really know what Notre Dame is until they play a real football team.
Yeah.
And the one real football team they've seemingly played is Texas A&M. But then if Texas A&M hasn't really played anybody either for the rest of the year, how much do we really know about Texas A&M when they play a good football team? I get that it's like the transitive property of college football and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, this will be, in my opinion, the best team that Texas A&M has played all year. I think Texas is better than Notre Dame. I think they have a better resume despite the 3 losses to Notre Dame's 2. I think they're more talented on offense. I think they're more talented despite the leaks on defense. So this will be Texas A&M's biggest challenge. And they could be playing with a little bit of butterflies as well because they have their first trip to Atlanta on the line. Their first SEC championship opportunity. So Texas has a chance to be at home, to spoil that, and ruin Texas A&M's season to a degree. They're still going to go to the playoff whether they lose this game or not, but you have an opportunity to throw a wrench in what is considered the best Texas A&M season in school history. So that's
I'm with it. I'm with you on that. It's an interesting place. Yeah. Between, it's like, it's no one has played it. I get it. That's how schedules work out sometime. I'll give A&M this. They didn't schedule the SEC schedule. They didn't pick it. So, the fact they didn't play anybody, it's been lucky they haven't had to go to Athens or do any of that, but they haven't played it. They didn't pick that. They played Notre Dame. I'm not going to criticize them for any of that. They won. They did what they're supposed to do. I'd be cocky too. Now, if it's Notre Dame, I wouldn't be so cocky. Notre Dame, I might have a little bit more pushback, but if I was Texas A&M, I would be cocky too. I don't mind that. But getting back to what I was saying earlier, I'll play this clip from Art Sark today at his media availability. But the question I have for this Texas team going into this A&M game and finishing the season, possibly fighting for a playoff spot, we'll talk about that throughout the next day or half of a day and tomorrow about the ways they can get in, and a lot has to happen, and they have to have a really good week this week, and there's still an outside chance for it, but it's very small. But all that being said, you have to have a selling point to get in. And right now, Texas doesn't have that, because every time you say, well, we're an offensive team, they go, no, you're not. Your offense has sucked here, here, and here. And every time you go, well, we're a defensive team, they go, no, you're not. Your defense sucked here, here, and here. And it doesn't feel like this season has had the identity of what Texas football has been, because it's been so up and down, because they were not a good road team, because they just had struggles of trying to figure out the offensive line. The run game they still haven't figured out, which is why Alabama's where they're at, is because no one trusts that Alabama team to win if you're able to stop Ty Simpson, because there is no run game. Same thing with Oklahoma, no run game. And so I get they're ahead of us and they're both in the playoffs right now. We're not, but you don't really have that. You're starting to see Arch Manning become that guy, but he wasn't early in the season. So, for us who follow the team, a lot easier. For some of these people who are going to be voting on things, who maybe haven't watched as much of Texas and Arch Manning late down the stretch and are looking at box scores and looking at, Georgia blew them out, so their offense is no good. All of that, it's a different story. Sark was asked, does he know this team? He's like, do you really know this team? Because you know, 5 weeks ago, we would have said, well, you're defense. You're a defensive team. And this week we're going, man, Arch Manning and your wide receivers are lighting it up. So Sark was asked if he knew the team. Here's what he had to say.
I think I know them pretty well. You know, it's a very young team that we've really had some growing pains. But what I appreciate about them, and I told them this yesterday. We got together yesterday to review the Arkansas game. Is that I appreciate them trusting the messaging. These guys want to be really good. They're striving to be really good. They trust me. You can feel it in their approach to things. And so what I know is that they're willing, and they're gonna try to do what we ask them to do. I think one thing for us, to go back to something, you know, defensively, where we're playing right now, where our mistakes are occurring, is we're chasing, trying to make plays, and we're not playing within the realm of the defense and doing our job to where we're capable of doing it, like we were early in the season. It's almost like we're trying to make plays because maybe the offense wasn't where they were supposed to be, and that's a scary place to play defensively. Well, now we've kind of got the offense kind of situated. We don't need to try harder on defense. We need to keep doing our job really well. And I think that it sounds like a simple fix, and we've obviously addressed it. But when you look at where some of our breakdowns occurred Saturday, it's from really veteran players who have played high-level football for us, that we just need to get them back to playing within the scheme of the defense and playing to their capabilities. If we do that, we'll be a lot better off than where we've been maybe the last couple weeks.
So there's Sark today basically saying in the roundabout way, well, no, I know what our team is, and our defense can be good again, because then if we have the identity will still be, this is a really good defensive team, and now the offense is caught up, which is fine. But his take on it is, well, the defense was trying to overcorrect and overcorrected too much, and now they're getting blown, and now they're not being able to make these plays, and they're missing coverages and everything else. And I think that's partially true. I think there is some, overextending that has happened, especially in the secondary, to try and make big plays. But on the flip of that, you can't keep calling the defenses you're calling and expect us not to believe you don't either have the talent or the trust to go out there and play man defense for most of a game and really try to shut a team down, because you haven't called plays to shut a team down in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, this defense has been playing scared almost to a degree over the last couple of weeks, with in terms of explosive plays and getting beat deep on, in the passing game and those kinds of things, giving up, too much cushion. And the eye discipline has been bad. The decision-making has been bad. And I think part of that is overcorrection to a certain degree, but part of it is just players not playing their best. Michael Taft has had a really rough couple of weeks since coming back from an injury. Jelani McDonald has not played his best football over the past couple of weeks. Jalen Gilbo got benched for a true freshman. And that true freshman did play really well against Arkansas. The linebackers haven't played particularly well over the last couple of weeks, with the exception of Anthony Hill. They've been bad about their run fits and also with their eye discipline. I think the defensive line has continued to play well for the most part. Yeah. The pass rush has continued to be good for the most part. It's really been in that back seven that I think the issues have really arisen. And one of the things that they've done over the last couple of weeks to try to give some extra help to the secondary is they've switched to a $317 package a lot of the time, where they're only bringing 3 defensive linemen and maybe a linebacker, and everybody else they have one linebacker in there, and then they've got a bunch of defensive backs in there. And I think that that's something that you may see a lot in this game, because Texas A&M is going to try to throw the football against you because they know that's where you're susceptible. So we'll see how that works out. I said this last week before the Arkansas game, and I'll say it again. If it's 3rd and 5 and I see Cade Phillips, with a 10 to 12 yard cushion on Mario Craver or Casey Concepcion, I'm going to throw my beer at the TV in the press box. It's going to be extremely frustrating to watch. I don't think they'll do that. I think that with Cade Phillips and the way that he's played the last couple of weeks, they'll be a little bit more confident. He's been playing fast. He's been playing physical. Even that pass interference that he had, he was going for the football and he was trying to make a play, and he made a good play. He just probably pushed off when he didn't need to push off. And I think he's gonna be a really special player for this team in years to come. But it's still a kind of a young unit back there. I mean, Jonah Williams is getting a lot of playing time back there. Xavier Philsmee's playing a lot. Derek Williams has been back there some. And what you really need is your three true veterans back there, Manny Muhammad, Michael Taff, and Jelani McDonald, to play their best football. And if you can do that, you'll be okay. There's always going to be a leak somewhere, but for the most part, this secondary is talented enough and capable enough to play well. They just haven't done it the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Another question Sark was asked about why the defense was giving up so many points, because, this was a defense that, a lot of times it annoyed people when they were play bend but don't break, but they didn't used to break. That was the key. Yep. And then somewhere along the line, they started to break a lot more, and we saw a lot more scoring. Here's what Sark had to say about it when he was asked about the defense scoring too many points. I believe this was in a weird question of, is your defense allowing too many points for you to move back up in the college football poll? It's a weird question, but it's Ed. So I love Ed. So it's not that. But this is him responding to the defense giving up too many points.
As far as our defense goes, hey, there's really good teams. And the one thing I've learned about our team, we can win a variety of ways. And we've won defensive battles. We've won games when our special teams had to show up and win the game, and we've won games when our offense had to score points to win the games. And part of that is comforting and knowing we can win a variety of ways, and we've got enough talent on this team that we can. And I don't know what it's going to take Friday night. All I know is I think we got a team that, whichever the way goes, we got a chance to go win it, and we got a chance to be competitive in it because we're versatile enough to go do that.
So there's Sark saying, we're versatile. We can do all these things. And I hope he's right. It doesn't feel like they're very versatile defensively right now. It feels like, man, we can only do one thing. And if we do another, we're so afraid you're going to go over the top of us. We're going to miss an assignment and it's an easy touchdown. So we're not going to do that. We're going to slide into, hopefully we can, but this leads to the other problem. And Chan just brought this up on the text line there, Matt. He brought in not running the ball is going to put a lot of pressure on our D. Our D has logged many miles this season, which is partly on not running the ball as much as you'd like to have that even in the time of possession. But it's another part of letting the other offense stay on the field. As you just said, playing 5, 10 yards, 15 yards back on a 3rd and 7 and giving them space to pick up the first down over and over again. And let a drive continue and just leave your defense out there, or to let them pick up a big run on first down because you have to drop 7 guys into coverage. So you let them get a 6-yard run to start it. And then they're now they got all day because you can't really do much because now it's 2nd and 4. Those types of things have been an issue of leaving the team out on the field, and that defense, who I agree with you, Chan, lots of mileage this season, much more than they had last year. And part of it is on not running the football as much, but a lot of it is on the defensive play calling and not getting out on there on 3rd downs, which, by the way, A&M really, really good at getting off the field on 3rd down.
Yes, they are. I thought Texas ran the ball pretty well against Arkansas in this game.
And they ran the ball a lot. Like this was, especially by the end of the game, they were starting to run a lot more. So your actual play splits was 31 passes, 28 runs.
Yeah, and the two running, like in rushing stats can get skewed a little bit by, quarterback sacks or quarterback runs that don't go anywhere, or your backup running backs coming in and not really doing anything. And I mean, the two Texas starting running backs, CJ Baxter and Trey Wisner, had 22 carries for I think 91 yards, which is 4.1 yards per carry between the two of them. That's pretty good. They didn't emphasize the run a whole lot. They ran it when they needed to run it. I don't think that you really change that formula going into this game necessarily, because Texas A&M, while they do have their issues stopping the run, like Ahmad Hardy in Missouri ran all over them, Arkansas ran all over them. A lot of teams this year have run all over them. You haven't been able to run against teams who can get run against this year anyway. You didn't run it particularly well against Vanderbilt or Mississippi State or Kentucky, who struggled to stop the run this year. So do it when you can. Do it to extend drives a little bit and take a little pressure off the passing game, but don't overemphasize it to a point where you're just getting yourself into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and really try to emphasize the things that you've been successful with over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and it's Chip Brown actually asked Sark about that, where he asked him about will you try and stick to the run, because you did see against Oklahoma, Trey Wisner. Trey Wisner was a dude against Oklahoma. Last year against A&M, Trey Wisner was a dude. And so those were not bad pass rush defense or rush defenses. They were decent run-stopping defenses across the league. But for whatever reason, in those games, Trey Wisner was able to go. So are you going to give Trey Wisner enough of a running ground to get going early in the game, or are you just have much more confidence in Arch Manning? When Sark was asked by our man Chip Brown if he would stick to the run game and try and emphasize it, here was his answer.
We're going to do what we need to do to win the game. If it's run it, throw it, screen them, whatever it is. And again, it's Monday at 11:25. We play at 6:45 Friday night, and so we're putting a plan together that is going to try to put us in the best position to win the game. And if the run game's hitting, all bets are I'm probably going to run it more, and if it's not and we're throwing it well, we'll probably throw it more. If both are hitting well, man, that's a great sign for us. And so, again, we'll put together a plan that we believe in schematically and believing in our players, and then ultimately try to put them in position Friday night to have success and to gain confidence against a great defense. And again, I'd love for all facets of the offense to be going, but at some point we got to remind ourselves our job is to try to win the game. And so that's what we'll try to do as the game unfolds Friday night.
So there's Sark being, political about it, but in the reality, I'm going to do what I got to do to win. So I know you guys would like me to run the ball a little bit more early in games and try and control the pace of the game a little bit more. I haven't felt that was the right thing to do. So I have not been doing that. And I will continue to do what I feel is the right thing to do, which it's his prerogative. As much as we talk about it, we know it, and all of these other things, I do think Sark knows football better than I do. Just going to go out on a limb there and say this guy who's been doing it his whole life and spends all the time. I think sometimes he makes bad decisions. I probably make worse ones. So with hindsight and everything else, we can look at what he does, but I'll trust him to go out there on Friday night and make the plays he needs to make and make those calls. I do think they will try again to get Trey Wisner involved. And if he does start to go like he did against Oklahoma and gets a couple big runs, then you'll see that a little bit more. I think you've seen the screen game and short passing be an extension of that run game they really like to use, where some of those are plays that Sark would consider run plays more of, because they are plays where we go the completion percentage rate is probably 80%. We feel pretty good that ball is going to be able to get there, and we're going to be able to run clock on that play, because that's really all we're talking about is, we're talking about a guy getting the ball, not an incomplete pass, and staying in bounds. Because a run game doesn't mean anything if the guy goes out of bounds and you're stopping the clock or whatever you're doing. The whole point of it is to run clock. Now, I think that's kind of, I think we've seen Sark still try to do that a little bit, just not through the standard run game. And if that's what you got to do, he's not going to abandon high quality, short yardage plays to try and stay on schedule. He just won't be able to go, we can't run through the tackles, which, by the way, A&M's not going to try and run through the tackles a ton if Le'Veon Moss isn't there. They'll do it some, but they won't do it a ton, because it's not Ruben Owens' best thing. Ruben Owens is really good breaking them outside. So they won't even go a ton of just straight up running through the guards. if there's no Le'Veon Moss. They'll do it just like we'll do it. But are they going to do it 25 times? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think that the most important thing, and this is something I think we've talked about a lot on this show over the last few weeks, the most important thing to this offense isn't necessarily running the football. It's staying on schedule.
Yes.
And that is exactly what Patrick is talking about when it's with the short screen game being an extension of the run game. It's about it. Those plays are all about whether it's running the ball or the short screen game. It's all about getting yourself into third and manageable, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, so that you can attack and create explosive plays from there or move the chains. Because if you find yourself in a situation where you run the ball on first down and you get 1 yard, and you run the ball on second down and you lose a yard or you get 1 yard, then you're sitting there in 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 10, and it's an obvious passing situation, and they can sit back in a different coverage and they can, pin their ears back and pass rush you. And that's where these offenses are so successful. And like, that's when you talk about the Sark Alabama offense that had Najee Harris and, Devontae Smith and Mac Jones, they did the same thing. They ran the ball and they did it well, and they got themselves into situations where they could attack and hunt on the opposing defense, and then they would get their explosive plays from that. So, as much as people want to say this offense has changed in terms of the way that it's being run and not running the football as much and this, that, and the other, it really hasn't. It's the same idea. They're just doing it a different way, and it's worked. And this is a Texas A&M defense that has given up explosive plays in both facets, in the passing game and the running game. Arkansas scored 42 on them. Notre Dame scored 40 on them. Where they have been very successful defensively and where they could attack Texas. And I know we're going to get into this more tomorrow, but their pass rush is elite. And you have to, if you're Texas, realize that, which I'm sure they do, and attack that pass rush in terms of keeping things quick and short and medium, and getting the ball out of Arch's hands early, and attacking where the blitz is coming from and those kinds of things. So if they can do that and they can stay on schedule, they're going to be very successful.
Yeah, and with that, I'll play one more clip here from today. But that's where this is a really big game for Arch. And as much as we want Trey Wisner to step up, and if Trey Wisner can help Arch, that's great. They're also losing Trey Wisner a lot in pass pro. He has been a great guy in pass pro a lot this season as well. Because sometimes you just got to have a guy out there to pick up something when that O-line's not there, or to get out and just, buy you an extra half second maybe. But for Arch, this is a really big game because that A&M pass rush is legit, but they're vulnerable to being tricked. And that's what some other teams have done to them this year, where if you let them just get home, they're going to get home. But if you can either run against them, or if you can ditch the ball off over them, run screens, whatever you can, they're coming after you. And they're not necessarily always the best. Some of these players who are really elite pass rushers are not always the best at understanding when you're getting tricked into pass rushing, especially when you play against an O-line. It's not great already. So you feel like, oh yeah, I should be able to win this. And by the time you realize it was too easy to win, you're behind the play. So you have to be able to do that. And for Arch, he has to be able to read when those blitzes are coming, see when this pressure is coming, and know where to check to, where to get the ball out, and get the ball out on time. And Sark was asked today about Arch's mental block and progress, and mental resolve, I should say, and progress, that what he's been through this season to be called a giant flop, to go through people questioning and people, booed him earlier in the season. Remember, people booed him at the Texas game. Like, that's where we were at earlier this season. And now everyone's like, oh my God, he's a passing, catching, running fool. Look at him. He's doing everything great. So the mental resolve to be able to get through all of that stuff for Arch Manning, what he's going to have to do to be mentally resolved in a rivalry game, a night game against your rivals, that is your last shot to have any chance to make it into the playoffs, which, by the way, a lot of these games that you need to have something happen in don't happen until Saturday. So you can't even go into this knowing what you're at. You have to go finish your business first. And you really shouldn't be watching other games, hoping, and then go in this game. But You have to have that mental resolve for Arch Manning. Here's Sark talking about Arch's mental resolve so far this season.
You know, for Arch, I don't know if any college player has kind of gone through what he went through before he even was the full-time starter. And part of that is his last name. Part of it is our brand. I think those two things coming together made this such a big storyline before the season. But none of it was anything due to what Arch was doing. He just kind of kept focusing on what he needed and tried to do. I'm sure there were moments when it was a lot, maybe even overwhelming. But to his credit, I think, man, the guy showed so much resolve and resiliency and just stick-to-itness, you know, to the task at hand. And again, it wasn't a perfect journey to get to this point, but sometimes it's good not to have a perfect journey. Sometimes taking a road less traveled is good for you. And I really think the experiences Arch had early in the season, and I said this early in the year, he was gonna benefit from the journey that he had to go on, and that he can learn how to overcome some of the adversity that he was faced with and some of the criticism he was faced with. So I think he's better and stronger for it today. And I'm really proud of him. Again, he's not a finished product. He's still going. He's still going to improve. He's still going to get better. But I'm very proud of him for the way he's handled so much of what we went through.
So there it is from Sark talking about the mental resolve of Arch Manning. And I think what you hit on there at the end, or what he hits on there at the end, is what he's been through so far this season, of the ups and downs, of getting beat up, of having to, you know, stay with his teammates. And when people are coming after him, his teammates stuck up for him. And when someone's coming after his teammates, he's sticking up for them. At the end of the day, it does feel like this is becoming something really positive, that in this A&M game, where it's so important, maybe his past faults will be able to help him understand what he needs to do against a team that, what we say, hair of the dog, Archie and Exposed, y'all may be the better team. You'll be the more talented team. You may have all these things going for you, and they just played an easier schedule. That may be true. But it also may be true that they are the better team, and they're going to come after you and expose you. So for Arch, he has to lead that ship. He's been doing it great the last few weeks. I know they lost to Georgia. I still think Arch did well in that game. Some things didn't go the way they needed to. But I think Arch for this game really, really has to get it done.
Yeah, this is Arch Manning's legacy game in his first season.
Yeah.
I would think. Look, I said this. I kind of said this earlier in the show, and I think that it holds true as to what Sark is talking about here. Arch really played bad in 3 games.
Yeah.
And was he perfect in the other ones early in the season? No. He had a lot to figure out in terms of the speed of the game and the discipline in the game. And it seemed like after he was able to he kind of got his footing against Mississippi State and kind of figured out how that's all going to work. And once he figured that out, he's been a completely different quarterback. And I know people are going to look at the box score of the Texas-Georgia game and be like, oh, you know, Texas got whooped, which they did. But Arch played really well in that game. In fact, I would argue that he was the only Texas offensive player that played well in that game for the most part. He has figured out the key points in being a quarterback in this conference in terms of being patient, keeping your eyes downfield, dealing with pressure, and staying true to what this offense is. And Sark has done a really good job of giving him easy winners and calling up things that are much more conducive to a successful passing offense. And that's what Sark has been so great at throughout his entire career, is adjusting to what players that he has throughout a season in order to be successful offensively. And I think he's done an awesome job of that since Mississippi State. And he did a really good job of it against Georgia for the most part. It's just the players couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
The 6 to 8 drops, the inability to run the football, the offensive line has been a huge issue. And for Arch to go from being labeled as trash, bust, the biggest flop in college football, all of the stuff that has gone along with that, getting booed, people calling for Matthew Caldwell to be the starter, which is still the most ridiculous thing that I've seen this season. To where he's at now, where he is statistically on par for the season with the 4 leading Heisman Trophy candidates, and over the last 5 weeks has been statistically better than all of those guys. He's got more top 10 wins to his name. He's played really well in big games. You know, it really does speak to that kid's toughness, both physically and mentally. His drive and all of those different things that you really want to see out of a starting quarterback at the University of Texas. Because, I mean, the early part of this season was Arch Manning's crucible. It was, you're going to live or die by this, and this is going to be your career. Can you bounce back from it and become a better player and mature? And he sure answered the bell, man. He really did. And I'm super, super excited to see what he does on Friday. It could be his best game that he's ever played. It could be he plays pretty well. It could be it could go a bunch of different ways, but I expect him to play extremely well and put Texas in positions to win with the way that he moves this offense.
Yeah, and I think he's executed the game plan properly the last few weeks. I think that connection between him and Sark, understanding the play calls, not just running the plays, but understanding the plays, seems to be at a different level than it was earlier, where he wasn't making the reads. He wasn't looking at, well, he's calling this because one of these two things could be open. And he would look at it and wait for the big play to happen, and you'd stare down receivers, do all those things you can't be doing. But at the end of the day, when you look at what this team does and how their pass rush is, they are susceptible. But if Trey Wisner is not able to get going and Sark's not going to lean on that, and, you know, he doesn't, you know, keep you really on schedule. So if Trey Wisner does what he kind of did against Arkansas early, which was a lot of runs that were 3 yards or so, which is under what Sark wants to see. Sark wants to see some 5-6 yards, really put you in a position to be moving and on schedule. That's just how he's been playing it this season. He trusts more in the short yardage game to get you 4 or 5. He'd rather do that for the most part. So if we see that, I think we're going to see it where it is going to require him to be really ready to ditch that ball off, move around in the pocket, stay where your footwork's going to be good. Know how to do that. He's gotten better at staying in the pocket when he needs to. You know, we talked about so much early in the season was him rolling outside, and he still does that, but he's gotten better at not bailing on the pocket so much. And, you know, avoiding sacks within the pocket so his footwork's better, so the ball is delivered more cleanly, so he can see the field, have more options on the field, which we stay in the pocket. All those things you have to keep doing this week. But if you do, people could walk out and go, well, Marcel Regis got outplayed by Arch Manning, hands down. And I think that's what we all want to see happen on Friday.
Hair of the dog. Look, I find myself thinking about next year a lot with Arch as well. And I don't want to come out and be the guy that puts too many expectations on him. But if Texas can find a way to protect him and keep his pockets relatively clean next year and catch the football, he will have a tremendous year. I won't compare it to anybody else's year. I know the comparison I want to do in my head, but I'm not gonna say it on the air because I don't want to put it out there.
I'm just gonna tell you this: with what we've seen so far at the end of this season, unless things go horribly wrong on Friday, he will be in the top 3 Heisman betting odds per people going into next season. That's not a bold take. That is just knowing how the cycle works, knowing what Texas is, knowing how the media likes to build Texas up and then tear them down throughout the season. That will happen again. So be ready for that. So as much fun as we're all looking forward to Arch, also get ready for spoken expectations. I'll do it. Don't worry. But that'll happen. But yeah,
I didn't say it, hair of the dog. You did.
But no, but look, that's still a ways off. They got a game on Friday that hopefully they go in and show everybody what big brother does to little brother. Hopefully.
Oh, here's an interesting stat, by the way, before we head to the break.
Yes.
In the 120 games, this is from Bob Ballou. In the 120 games that Texas and Texas A&M have played against each other, this will be the 12th time that the two teams have been ranked. Texas is
doesn't have a lot.
Both of them have been ranked. Texas is 8-3 in those matchups. This is the 6th time that Texas A&M has come to Austin ranked in the top 10. The last time was the big upset in 1998 when Ricky broke the all-time rushing record. I was at that game. It was amazing.
I remember that. I remember when he broke it. So, all right, we're going to take. Go ahead. Say.
I was going to say I could recite. I was there for the game, and I've watched it so many times going back that I could recite the entire. Who's the guy that called it?
Is it Keith Jackson?
No, it was the guy it was the other guy, Brent Musburger. I could recite the entire Brent Musburger call for that play.
All right, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. We got a lot to get into today. We do have some other games to talk about. The Cowboys and Eagles game and how crazy that was. We got to get into. I threw in some overreactions since we only have 2 days this week because we're off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Giving up Friday to do the pregame show for Texas A&M and Texas, a big game there. We've got a lot to get into as we continue on. And, of course, whatever you guys want to talk about, always throw that in here on a Monday afternoon edition of Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
At Sleep Cycle Center, we can treat your sleep apnea in various ways. My story starts 15 years ago with the loss of my father to undiagnosed untreated sleep apnea. And this is a very preventable disease, and treatment options are various. Millions of people across America have sleep apnea, and they fail to realize the early warning signs. Fatigue, daytime sleepiness, and snoring are the most common signs. We'll find the best solution using advanced technology, oral and epigenetic appliances, or CPAP. We offer weight loss, oral surgery, and laser treatments. Schedule your appointment today and get your sleep evaluation.
If you're looking to remodel a kitchen, renovate your bathroom, or maybe add some new life to your outdoor space, reach out to our friends at McCall Custom Homes. They are custom home builders and renovators here in Central Texas, and they've been doing it in Central Texas for more than 40 years. It's a father-son team with a ton of experience, and all of that experience is here in the Austin area. So they know what it takes to turn an Austin area home into something truly, truly special. Right now, our friends at McCall Custom Homes are offering free estimates to TSU listeners so they can come out to your place, hear your vision, they can tell you what they can do, and then you can go from there. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their website, McCallCustomHomesATX.com. Look at the gallery of jobs they've done over the last 4 decades. And then when you're ready, again, reach out to them and they will come to you. McCallCustomHomesATX.com, or you can call or text Mike McCall directly at 512-633-9580. It's McCall Custom Homes. We build value into your home.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street. Hold the door for people behind us. Tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics. But more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
Welcome back in to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on S9. Of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And, of course, on the chat here, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Happy you're joining us here on a happy Thanksgiving week. We hope you all have a good time. Appreciate you, Hair of the Dog. But yeah, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I know a lot of you got busy weeks. You got family coming in town, or you're traveling, or maybe you're working this week. Maybe you took the whole week off. But whatever it is, we do appreciate you hanging out with us here on this week. We are off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, giving you up Friday for the pregame show with Bucky and BK down there at Schultz's. So we're shoving everything in here, Matt. Shoving everything into 2 days that we can fit into 2 days. Taking 10 hours down to 4 hours and trying to get to it. And so since we have a lot of stuff to get into, I thought we could do some overreactions now to see if that'll get us to talk about some of the other issues that are happening. There wasn't a ton of big games over the weekend, so we can hit a couple of those, but this will get us a little college talk, a little NFL talk about what happened over the weekend. We normally do this on Tuesdays, but we'll be making predictions and all of those other things tomorrow because we got to do our picks, which Matt caught back up in the picks. I believe we're tied again after this week.
Thank God.
I think he caught back up this week and had one on me. I think the Rams got you. I think the Rams took you over. I thought the Bucks might cover there. They did not.
Best team in the NFL, man.
They're playing great football right now. Really are. They really are. And I can't believe the Bucks are going to screw up having that division. Blows my mind. Every time you believe in Baker Mayfield, acts like a real Sooner out there. Let's get to some overreactions here, Matt, where I will give a scenario of an overreaction I have heard, seen, read, talked about with somebody, or just plain made up. And we will see if Matt believes they're overreactions or legitimate claims that could be true. We'll start off with this one. If Texas beats A&M, they have the best resume to be the last team in the playoffs.
This could end up being a pretty long discussion, Patrick, so I hope you're ready for it. Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of quality wins, they will at least have a case for it. I think a lot of other things will have to happen because that third loss is really what is holding you back now. But in terms of, okay, you beat 3 top 10 teams who were top 10 at the time that you played them. You would be 7-2, I think, or 8-2, or sorry, God, math live on air, 6-2 in SEC play. Those are all things that are very, very impressive. And yeah, I mean, you've played and beaten 2 teams that are in the playoff already, if that's the case. So that's a very strong resume. Where things kind of fall apart for me is the third loss, the Florida loss, to be precise. The way that you played against Kentucky, the way that you struggled against Mississippi State, you had to go on the road and beat 2 of the worst teams in the conference in overtime. Those are the things that give me pause on why Texas could end up being left out. Now, I mean, I don't have the college football.
For the record, I'm not even saying left out in this overreaction. I'm saying they have the best resume. Whether or not the politics allow them to be in there is a separate thing. But would they have a better resume than Notre Dame? Would they have a better resume than BYU or Utah? Would they have a better resume than Miami? And would they have a better resume than Vanderbilt?
Okay, so let's look at the bottom part of the
because so if we look, Texas
CFP
is 17 in the last one. Teams 16 and 15 both lost last week.
Yeah,
or this weekend. So they are both going to get knocked down. Now, Michigan jumped Texas in the AP. They were already ahead of them in the coaches. So I don't know if Michigan will jump Texas on this week. But Michigan could jump Texas. I don't know why they would. They didn't play anybody that good. But they won. But so Michigan's another one you have to worry about. They play Ohio State this weekend, which could hate it. We have to root for Ohio State in that week. I don't like that one bit. But we got to root for Ohio State to beat Michigan finally. Because they can't beat the team that we lost to and then be behind us as much. It makes that argument much more. So that's one you have to worry about right there. But then we're looking at Vanderbilt at 14, Miami at 13, Utah at 12, BYU at 11, Alabama at 10, Notre Dame at 9, and Oklahoma at 8. Those are the reasonable teams. Oregon won this week, so when they beat USC, they're now pretty much in. I think everyone's 7 and up is pretty much in between Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Georgia, Texas A&M, Indiana, Ohio State. I think all of those are pretty much in now. I get Ole Miss would be an interesting one if they lose to Mississippi State. that one starts to jump in a little bit more of questionable, but I won't even put that thought into Matt's mind right now.
No, we're not doing that. So yes, out of the teams that you mentioned, really, if Oregon had lost another game, then it'd be a little bit easier as well.
Yeah,
But
they lost to USC. They lost to somewhere, but they didn't. I think they play Oregon, or who do they play this week? I have to look.
Washington, who they could lose to.
Yeah.
So here are some things that I think could help Texas get a case to get in, get into the playoff. I think that before we have that conversation, though, okay, Texas I think still has a better resume over than Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame has played 4 ranked teams. They've beaten 2 of them. They don't have a win over a team inside the top 20. Their other games, they've beaten Purdue, Boise State, Arkansas, NC State, Boston College, Navy, and Syracuse. That's not incredibly impressive to me. I think that Texas has a better resume than BYU, who hasn't played or beaten anybody. The one good team that they played was, or the one ranked team that they played was Texas Tech, who beat them like a drum. Utah, I don't think is a factor in this conversation. When it's all said and done, Texas would get in above Utah. They haven't beaten a ranked team this year. Miami also, I don't think has the best resume. They beat Notre Dame. They beat South Florida. They beat Florida State. One of those teams is still ranked. And one of them had to come out this week and say, we're sticking with our coach. We're not firing him. And that's Florida State. Texas beat Vanderbilt head-to-head. They haven't beaten anybody of note. You know, they beat Missouri, who's okay. They beat LSU, who's bad. They beat South Carolina, who's the worst team in the conference. You know, so Texas has a better resume at 9-3 than a lot of these teams with 2 losses.
Okay. That's
now for Texas to vault these teams that have 2 losses. You have to move up. I would assume that Texas moves up to 15 or 16 in the playoffs tomorrow.
Yes.
When it's announced. If that's the case, then more than likely the teams ahead of you are Vanderbilt, Miami, Utah, BYU, and Alabama and Notre Dame. So, and also you do have to worry about Michigan, like Patrick said. So Ohio State beats Michigan, just get them out of the way. Take that pressure off yourself. Tennessee beats Vanderbilt. That's absolutely possible.
Yep.
Pittsburgh beats Miami. That's a little bit more difficult to imagine, but it's possible.
But by the way, I'll throw this in there. I think we jump Vanderbilt if we beat A&M. I'll just say I think we jump them.
Potentially. Yes.
I think we dropped them when we lost to Georgia, but we beat them head to head, and with a giant win over A&M, I think we vault them again. I think they'd be pissed about it, but we beat them.
And let's be honest, the playoff committee would rather have Texas in it than Vanderbilt.
Yes.
LSU beating Oklahoma would be big. Auburn upsetting Alabama would be big. The other game that I think would be really important in this whole scenario isn't going to even be played this week. It's going to be played in the Big 12 championship when Texas Tech plays BYU.
Yeah.
If Texas Tech beats BYU again, Texas will get into the playoff over a 2-loss BYU. So there's a lot that has to happen.
It's possible, but yeah, it's a very small chance, but you have to win first. And that's kind of the biggest step of it all.
And getting a win over the number 3 team in the country will be a trump card that almost nobody else in the country has at this point.
Well, no one else would have in the country because no one has beaten 1, 2, or 3 so far this season, right?
Except for Ohio State. They beat Texas in week 1.
Okay. I don't put us as number 1, but I'm saying since the college football playoff poll has come out, there has not been a team to upset the undefeateds up there.
No, there is not.
UCF a 17.5 point dog to BYU. Let's go UCF. Come on, guys.
That's not going to happen either, but
no,
I would love for it to.
I know the argument for BYU, which leads us to our next actual overreaction, because I've seen this one now starting to come out. BYU is actually underrated. BYU is a 1-loss team who has played a lot of above 500 teams. They have played decent teams. They have not gotten the same pass that in Ohio State, Illinois, or A&M has gotten, and they've only lost one game. The BYU is actually underrated because of their strength of opponent of their schedules. Their opponent's winning percentage is actually pretty decent.
No, BYU is a fraud. The Big 12 is a fraud. The Big 12 is a joke. I'm not even trying to be like hyperbolic when I say that. The Big 12 is not very good.
It isn't. I agree. And they just kind of beat themselves.
Yeah, the only ranked teams that BYU has beaten are Utah, who hasn't beaten a ranked team. That's the only ranked team they've beaten all year. They beat Portland State, whatever. They beat Stanford, who is 4-7. They beat East Carolina, who's 7-4. They beat Arizona, who's not very good. They beat West Virginia, who's not very good. They beat Iowa State, who's not very good. They got drubbed by the one good team they played. They beat TCU, who I think is a really talented football team, but they're 6-5 or they're 7-4 after beating Houston this past weekend. And then they beat Cincinnati, who again I think is a pretty decent team, but they're 7-4. So you haven't beaten a team that has either beaten a ranked team or has less than 4 losses.
Yeah.
So they're a fraud.
All right. I'm with you. Again, something I actually read this week. So I'm just telling you, that is the counter argument, is that BYU's opponent win percentage is actually decent. And so a lot of these teams aren't, so that they'll say, well, guys, we beat above 500 teams and you didn't. We beat bowl eligible teams. We've beaten a bunch of them. And you're like, that doesn't matter. But their whole argument for the Big 12 is basically you overrank the Big 10 and you overrank SEC. If you were really fair and just, the Big 12 would have 6 teams in the top 25, which is not true, but is what the Big 12 says. So that is what the argument is going to be. That's what the argument is in that room, is that when you're talking about it with BYU, because BYU will be a one-loss team. I do think it's hard to not put a one-loss team in there, but if they do win the conference championship, they also don't want to knock people out for being in that game. It's going to be a hard conversation, though. I'll just say that. Texas got to get their job done first.
Listen, BYU's strength of record is number 6.
Yeah.
Their strength of schedule is 28. The remaining strength of schedule is 24. Their team, the team average in game, I don't know, that one doesn't matter, I guess. Texas is better than them in all of those categories, with the exception of strength of record, because they have 3 losses and BYU has 1.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Let's throw in, how about this one? How about this overreaction? Texas should pay the money to completely redo their non-conference slates going forward. I've heard this one many times now, Matt. They need to fix the fact that they don't have the cupcake week. They need to add in a cupcake week. They need to get out of their contracts with the big teams. They need to redo it, because the Ohio State game is the reason why Texas is not in the playoffs.
You know, Patrick, I'm really happy that you brought this up. Listen.
By the way, if you want to see my rant about this, you can go on Friday. I won't have to do the whole rant again. I ranted about this on Friday. So
the question is not whether Texas should have scheduled Ohio State. The question is, what if you hadn't lost to Florida?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that plays a role in whether or not Texas gets into the playoff. Because if you beat Florida and you lose to Texas A&M, you probably have a much better resume to get into the playoff than if you, or at least a more likely chance going into this football game to get into the playoff than you would if you had if you had lost to Florida. I hate the mentality of, well, we just shouldn't have scheduled Ohio State. No, you shouldn't have lost to a team that is now 3-8.
Yeah.
That's what you shouldn't have done. The Ohio State thing is not getting counted against you. What's getting counted against you is the Florida loss, getting blown out by Georgia, and struggling against Kentucky and Mississippi State and UTEP. That's what's counting against you. You know, it's if you had scheduled, Samford week 1 instead of Ohio State, and you still lost to Florida, and then you lost to Georgia, and then you go into this game at 9-2, you're still on the playoff bubble. And if you lose to Texas A&M, you're still out of the playoff. Do you have a better chance to get in that case? Maybe. But the committee is not counting a one-score loss to the number 1 team in the country in week 1 against you at all. They're counting against you the Florida loss.
By the way, if you want to know a team that should be mad about it, it's Alabama. Alabama lost to Florida State. And if they had scheduled that game and just scheduled nobody, they'd be a 1-loss team right now. And they'd be sitting pretty happy that we lost to Oklahoma. That's the only game we've lost. Now they wouldn't have they'd still have a win over Georgia. Still have all these things. So they can actually complain about it a little bit more because now they're on the edge because they scheduled a name team that turned out to be awful, but was good week 1 and 2. So they can get more mad about it. But like in reality, if you sit there and we lost to Florida, they lost to Florida State, and they had beat Georgia and then lost, we might still be behind Alabama at this point as well. So
yeah.
So there's those conversations. I'm with you, Matt. I just heard that too much this weekend, and people keep going on about it. I gave my rant on Friday. I think it's a wimpy way to try and go through life, to keep trying to just get out of everything. It's hard. And most of the coaches I've heard talk about trying to do that are not coaches who have the greatest track record.
Look, yeah, I agree with you. The bottom line is beat Florida. If you beat Florida, then this isn't even a conversation. You're probably in the top 12 of the playoff rankings. You have a chance to go in and play Texas A&M for a chance to have potentially host a playoff game. Yeah. Instead, you lose to Florida. And the people who are sitting out there saying, well, we just shouldn't have scheduled Ohio State, and it doesn't matter if we lost to Florida. I think that those are the people who, when they got in trouble when they were children, blamed other people for them doing something wrong. They can't take accountability. Win your games, be accountable for your loss, and you're not in this situation. Period. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. But speaking of coaches who maybe don't want to schedule big games and their track record, last overreaction for college football here, Matt. Lincoln Riley is now the worst big game coach in P4 football.
He might be. Has he beaten anybody this year?
He has never beaten a top 10 team at USC. He's not beaten the top 10 team while he's at USC. He's continually come up short. And they lose to Oregon this week, and not even really keeping it close, just not playing well, not being able to get it done. Lincoln Riley has not been able to put that team where they are. He is now this same record Clay Helton was when they fired Clay Helton at USC. So he is just, but that is a guy who says, I don't want to play the big games. I don't want to schedule. He's the one trying to get out of the Notre Dame game right now. He didn't want to play in the SEC. He didn't want to coach in the SEC.
I really hope Auburn hires him.
Oh, wouldn't it be great? I hope Florida hires him.
It would be so perfect. Florida or Auburn, please. Yeah.
I don't think he's coming to the SEC. I thought he might, but I don't think he is.
Nah.
If he's going anywhere, he'd call about Penn State. Be like, I'll stay in the Big Ten. You can stay here.
Yeah, he probably likes the glitz and the glamour of LA, so he'll stay there as long as he can.
Maybe he'll be the one calling up at the Tennessee Titans. Maybe he'll be that one. All right, a couple NFL ones for you here, Matt, of overreactions I've heard. Maybe not overreactions. How about this one? The Cowboys have finally found the ability to fight back defensively. So even though they're not better, they've found the ability now, last few weeks, to start to fight back, to be able to make mistakes and then recover with the depth and with a little bit more power that they did make stops when they needed to in this game. They have now found that ability, and it changes how you look at this defense. They're still not good, but maybe they're not the worst.
They've played really well the last couple of weeks, but no. They've played two really bad offenses, in my opinion. I want to see what this like. I'm not trying to discount what they did against the Eagles. I thought that was a tremendous comeback, and they played really well defensively in the second half of that game. But if you're going to sit here and you're going to try to tell me that the Cowboys are fixed because they were able to hold down two of the worst offenses in the NFL, then I just don't buy it. You're still a 500 football team. And I don't and they play the Chiefs on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And that's an offense that has not played well recently. So if they play well there, I'm still not going to be impressed. Where I'm going to be impressed is if when they play Detroit, how do they handle Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and all these guys? That will be the true test to me.
All right. I'm not against it. I thought the resolve, it was much better in that game, but I'm with you. I'm still not full believer in this defense being figured out. I do think the health of this defense and starting to get some players back, that is really starting to change momentum for them a little bit more so that they were able to but they made adjustments. They let the Eagles score twice and then made the adjustments. Part of that is the Eagles not being a great offense, but past Cowboys defense would allow them to score twice and then be like, well, I guess they've got our number, and then lose and then let them put up another 30 points. All right. How about this one? We saw Aaron Rodgers sit out this game for the Steelers, and they lose to the Bears 28-31. Aaron Rodgers is going to come back for another season. I'm thinking the Vikings after the Steelers collapse this season. He's going to say, I can't go out like this because the Steelers are going to collapse.
I really hope he doesn't. I'm so tired of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I could see it for sure. If the Vikings were, he's a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy. Mm-hmm. So, sure. I think he'd do really well with Aaron Jones at running back and Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, a wide receiver. So, yeah, I could see that happening for sure. I just really don't want it to. I just want him to go away forever.
He's going to come back and say he got a divorce from his make-believe wife. And then
who nobody has ever seen in public.
No one knows the name. No one knows any of that. All right. This one was a huge story yesterday. Shedeur Sanders should start for the Browns for the rest of the season. Shedeur Sanders got the win over the Raiders, who have fired Chip Kelly, by the way. Raiders have now officially fired Chip Kelly, but they got a 24-10 win over the Raiders. Everyone is like, Shedeur Sanders is goated already. He was 11 for 20 for 209 yards with a touchdown and an interception, and he took one sack.
That's really elite quarterback play right there. I'll tell you what, Patrick.
And they didn't give him the game ball. What a sham.
That touchdown pass was to a running back who went 66 yards, if I'm not mistaken, for a touchdown. Why don't we give a little credit to the Browns defense, who had 10 sacks as to why they won that game. He's going to start this week. I think they've already announced it.
They've already announced it. And here's the thing. It's not an overreaction. Sure, he should be starting. They don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
So put him out there. Like, go figure out if you've got somebody there or if you don't. I'm 100%. Go put him out there and play him. I don't think it's an overreaction at all. He should start the rest of the season because Dylan Gabriel ain't the guy either.
Yeah.
So go put him out there, shut up everybody, and either he's good or he's bad. But let him go play. Figure it out. You're going to go get someone next. You're going to win.
And poor Fernando Mendoza or Ty Simpson.
Well, the question is, are they just ditching Deshaun Watson now, or are they going to let Deshaun Watson come back?
That would be a bad idea.
They paid him a ton of money, so
they do owe him a lot of money. That's a really great question. I don't know that they're in bad shape. By the way, completely off topic. This was just announced by Texas Football.
Okay.
Arch Manning is the AP College Football Player of the Week.
Hey, round of applause. Good job, Arch. There you go.
Elite quarterback.
Elite quarterback. In our last overreaction here, on an Overreaction Monday now. The Colts will falter, and the Texans will win the AFC South. The Colts lost over the weekend. The Texans won on Thursday. The Colts take that loss to the Chiefs 20-23 against a Chiefs team who's underperformed. Chiefs season stays alive. The Colts are now 2 games ahead of the Texans, but they still have 2 more matchups with the Texans, including next week. That is the first big matchup between them. If they win that game, all of a sudden things are changing because now they are a game back of the Jags. They would be a game back of the Colts with a game against the Jags and a game against the Colts. Or sorry, a game against they've already played the Jags twice, but a game against the Colts twice, another one. And then the Jags, we just don't believe are going to win it. But what do you think? Is this still just believing the hype for this Texans team? The Colts' remaining schedule is Texans, Jags, Seahawks, 49ers, Jags, and Texans.
Well, those next few weeks are really going to determine it, aren't they?
Yeah.
4 division games, a game against one of the better teams in the NFL and the Seahawks, and a really dangerous 49ers team. I don't think they'll falter because I think that they'll sweep the Texans and I think that they'll sweep the Jaguars.
Ooh. Painful there. Just taking shots over there.
Well, I mean, I believe in Indiana Jones. I'm gonna keep riding it. He's better than JJ McCarthy.
He is not better than CJ Stroud, though. But CJ Stroud,
but he is.
They start to figure that offensive line out. They can start figuring some things out. I still don't have a ton of faith in Nick Caley, but maybe they can start to figure some things out. But
they also have Jonathan Taylor, who's arguably the best player in the NFL this year.
That is true. But it is a big, big game, and the Texans have the best defense in the league right now. But can you stop a really dynamic runner in Jonathan Taylor, or can he keep them on schedule?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key to the game. I'm going to side with Jonathan Taylor just because he's eaten the Texans alive throughout his career, but we'll see.
What a hater over here. Let's get to some of the other action around the league here, Matt. We did see in college football, by the way, some of the games you may have noticed and seen. There wasn't too much craziness happening. Oregon did beat USC pretty handily, 42-27. So that was, one of your pieces where maybe Oregon would move out of the way, but USC would be right there. But USC is now out of the equation completely with that win. And then we didn't really talk about it. The Oklahoma win over Missouri. Really thought Bo Pribula coming back would be a bigger impact. Oklahoma's defense did not allow it. 6 points scored by Missouri in this game. So once again, John Mateer throws for under 50% completion percentage. He's 14 for 30 for 173 and 2 touchdowns. He did run for another 60 yards as well, because they don't really. Xavier Robinson had 42 yards. He averaged 3.5 yards per carry. But he doesn't have really an elite game again, but he gets it done because the defense is legit. Bo Pribula goes 20 for 36 for 231, but throws 2 big picks. Ahmad Hardy couldn't get going. He averages 3.4 yards per carry, and that really kind of threw everything off that Ahmad Hardy wasn't able to go because he's been the guy carrying Missouri all year.
Missouri missed 2 field goals.
Yeah.
And they dropped a touchdown on fourth down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is a completely different football game. And I get that's ifs, ands, and buts, and it didn't happen. But Oklahoma is winning in spite of John Mateer.
I'm with you. I wouldn't say in spite. I would say they're not winning. He's not doing anything to help them. So he didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't fumble the ball. So he didn't necessarily cause them the problems. I think if he's throwing picks, you'd say in spite of. But I don't think he's not the reason they're winning. Now, he is out of the Heisman picture now. He's kind of fallen off. But not a great look. And a solid question from Joe there, which is, does Drink leave Missouri? I mean, it feels like someone's still going to offer him a job, even though they're 7-4. He's going to claim that it was because the quarterback got hurt and say, like, I don't know, but I have had one good season in the SEC, so you guys should bring me in.
When Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss.
Oh, you're back on board with it?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to try to will it into existence. I think LSU would hire him.
I don't know if LSU would. I think Florida would before LSU.
If Lane Kiffin passes on on LSU. Eli Drinkwitz is their top choice.
Really?
I've got that on.
They're really bad at hiring coaches there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. If Lane Kiffin does go to LSU, I think Drink stays at Missouri because I think he views Ole Miss as kind of a lateral move.
Yeah.
And I think Florida has somebody else in mind.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, look, Oklahoma is legit defensively, absolutely legit. I think they're probably a top 2 or 3 defense in the country. That is a really, really good defense. John Mateer, and I give him shit because Oklahoma fans are constantly in my mentions on social media about how, how much Arch sucks and this and that and the other. So I take pop shots at John Mateer because it's fun, because they hate it, because they're coping. But he's a bottom half SEC quarterback. They're still complaining about the broken hand thing, the broken thumb thing. That was weeks ago. He was slated to be back from that injury for the South Carolina game. After that period, that is no longer an excuse. He's just been inaccurate and making bad decisions and overthrowing guys or underthrowing guys or like all those different things. And part of that's because of the offensive line. I'm not going to put it all on him, but Oklahoma is a very flawed football team. They've been saved by their defense. And I don't think that has very good playoff implications for them in terms of what they're going to do once they get in. But it would be hilarious, Patrick?
What's that?
If Ohio State beats Michigan, if Tennessee beats Vanderbilt, if Pittsburgh beats Miami, if Auburn beats Alabama, Texas beats Texas A&M, and let's say Texas Tech beats BYU in the Big 12 championship, Texas gets into the playoff as the 11th seed. And they face Oklahoma in Norman in the first round of the playoffs.
First time ever. Have you ever played in Norman before?
Ever. Not that I am aware of. Maybe. I mean, before they moved to Dallas. I don't know. I'd have to look, but that would be interesting.
I'm just hoping that LSU figures something out. I know they're awful. Figure something out. Beat them. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, that would be hilarious. I just, I kind of want that to happen. I really do. I think that would be so much fun.
I don't know. That'd be crazy. That'd be really. It'd be like, wait, that's a trivia question of the future if that would happen.
Yeah.
When does Texas play to Norman? They're like 2025.
I can find out real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I maybe before, maybe way back in the day they did it. I don't know. Not in my lifetime. They have done it. We did see another upset was that Pittsburgh beat Georgia Tech 42-28 to keep their ACC dreams alive, even though we thought, okay, Georgia Tech, they showed that they're not there. We're still, that now you have Georgia Tech headed off to try and take on Georgia, maybe looked ahead in this game, thought they didn't have to handle Pitt. Pitt ends up playing their big game next week, which is Miami, which is you're actually rooting for Pitt in that game because, again, it knocks Miami out. And you think maybe there's a chance. Miami has looked like the best team in the ACC this season. However, they've just lost too many games, and so they're getting knocked out of it now. But, yeah, we saw that one as well. But just not a ton of huge upsets, not a ton of crazy things happening here this week in college football.
Yeah, I'm not shocked about the Georgia Tech thing.
No, it's not shocking, but it's somewhat disappointing for what the ACC is going to put in the playoffs. But
yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech has been a one-trick pony this whole year, and it's Haynes King.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked that they lost. The ACC in general is just a dumpster fire of average, and then Miami. By the way, before we continue,
yes.
Texas, by my count, has played Oklahoma in Norman 3 times.
3 times.
The last time was in 1922.
Okay.
Texas won 32-7.
Okay,
they
so
played. They played in 1908. Oklahoma won 50-0.
Oof.
And then they played in Norman in 1901, and Texas won 11-0. So Texas is 2-1 in Norman.
All right, we own them. That's good. It's good to know. We did see in the NFL, Matt, what's going on with the Lions? Overtime with the Giants. They win that 34-27 after Jahmyr Gibbs immediately breaks in. But you're talking about a Jameis Winston-led Giants with no Cam Scatterboo, with no Malik Neighbors, comes in and puts up a huge amount. Jameis Winston throws for 366 yards in this game.
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson had 156 yards receiving.
Yeah.
The defense in Detroit has just been very bad. I don't know what else to say about it. Jahmyr Gibbs is also unbelievable. He is an absolutely unbelievable, dynamic, explosive, badass player. He put up 63 points for me in fantasy football this past weekend.
He did for me as well in one of my leagues. I don't know exactly what he put up for me, but he definitely had an impact. I'll look up and see what he put up for me. I don't check my fantasy. It's not my best fantasy football year, Matt. So I have not been checking my scores as regularly as I have in the past because all of my players are hurt. 55 for me. 55.4 for me is what I had.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the issue with Detroit has just been their defense. They can't really stop anybody right now. If you look at their last few games, 27 to the Giants. I mean, I know they had a low scoring one against the Eagles, which the Eagles don't have a very good offense, and that was just a shitty game. The Commanders without Jaden Daniels, but they lost. They gave up 27 to the Vikings in a loss. They gave up 30 to the Chiefs in a loss. They gave up 24 to a bad Bengals team. They gave up 30 to the Ravens. So it's just been a very up and down defensive year for them, and I don't really understand why it's happening because it seems like they're talented on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and then finally, Matt, we saw the Rams kind of solidify themselves as the number one team in football, at least while they're playing right now. Matt Stafford solidified himself as the number one odds for MVP. He threw for 273 and 3 touchdowns in that game. They were doing whatever they wanted to do in that game. We saw Chris Godwin come back, 2 catches for 9 yards. Emeka Egbuka, 3 catches for 32 yards. It just never really works. Baker Mayfield does get injured in the game as well. I haven't seen what that injury is yet. But Baker Mayfield takes injury, so Teddy Bridgewater has to come in at a certain point, and the Rams just put it on them. Is this sustainable? Is this the Rams? Are they really, is LA right now just having such a magical year of just the place I don't want to win in sports ever? The worst sports fans, they don't care really. They're only fans of the teams when they're good. They've never cared about their teams when they're bad. And they may get a World Series and a Super Bowl.
I think that the worst fans
and Luka Doncic.
The worst fans that I never want to win anything are Philadelphia and New York. And Boston. Boston's awful.
Boston's bad too. But Philly and Boston are a different kind of bad.
Yeah.
But the LA one that always gets me is they show up late to every game for every sport. They don't really care. And then when their team's good, they talk a huge amount of shit. Yeah. But when they're bad, they're like, oh, I don't care. Who cares? No one watches the Dodgers. And now they're like, I've been a Dodgers fan since I was 5 years old. You're like, wait a minute. When they were bad, you thought you didn't care. Wait a minute. You can't do that.
Let's not forget the Lakers are number 2 in the NBA standings in the West right now.
But they're going to fall apart.
Yeah, maybe. But yes, I think that the Rams have solidified themselves as the best team in the NFL. I called it at the beginning of the year that they were going to be a Super Bowl contender. They are really good in very, very many different ways. It's not just Matthew Stafford. They can run the ball. They play really good defense. They have dynamic receivers. They have really good tight ends. They have the best quarterback in the NFL this year. They're the best team.
You want to know their schedule for the rest of the season, Matt?
Sure.
Panthers, Cardinals, Lions, Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals.
I mean, that's a schedule, man.
That is 2 real games left this season.
Yeah.
And the Lions have been super vulnerable. The Lions have not looked really good. We know they have talent. Their offense can be something. Their defenses look pretty porous at a lot of times this season. So it feels like Matt Stafford's going to have a game there. And so you're like, you got to go to Seattle, man. It's 6 weeks left. You got to go to Seattle. That's all you got left. That is
they might finish 14-3, and I can guarantee you when the Lions come to LA, I'm not saying the stadium's going to be crazy because it's never crazy, but Matthew Stafford is going to want that game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's going to ball out. So yeah, I think they're going to be 14-3. I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I think that they're going to have a really damn good chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and this one's crazy too. The Patriots still just staying on top of everybody in the AFC is absolutely nuts. Would not have had that at all. That was a team that was able to just do whatever they wanted. They're 10-2 this season. Really, I mean, the Colts are the only one close, but we said the Colts have a tough schedule the rest of the way, so they may fall down a little bit. And so it just looks like the Patriots are going to run away with it. I would never have predicted this. Drake May's having a great season. Mike Vrabel has completely redeemed himself in the world of, was it the Titans or Mike Vrabel?
It was the Titans.
Might just be that the Adams family is the worst family who's ever been around football, even worse than the Joneses. Because they moved the damn team. You don't move the damn team.
You know, I'm interested to get your perspective on this, Patrick, before we go to our next break. But I was talking to my boss earlier on a Zoom call, and he was asking me, like, why does nobody in Houston like the Texans? Like, it seems like they're always a third thought when it comes to sports behind the Rockets and the Astros. I was like, well, first of all, Houston's a baseball town. They just love their Astros, and that's that. But my opinion, and I want to get your opinion on this, when the Oilers were in Houston, everybody loved them.
Yes.
And then when they moved to Tennessee and, you know, all of that, it kind of fell apart. And then when Houston wasn't able to get the Houston Oilers brand back, and then the Texans presented this brand of the Texans and the ugly jerseys and the ugly logo and the weird name that didn't make any sense for the city, everybody was just like, we don't really care. And like, they're still Texans fans and they still love them. Yes. But if the Texans were somehow able to get the Oilers branding back and go back to the old uniforms and all of that, they would once again ascend to.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple reasons. One, we've never been really good. CJ Stroud's the best quarterback we've ever had. Like, you could say Deshaun Watson for a little bit was really good, but then that fell apart really quick because of Bill O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, they just never really had that run to let everybody buy the gear and then feel good about it. People just never really did. I think you're 100% right, though. It just feels too generic. It felt like a build a team kind of thing to put it in there when they ended up showing up. And yeah, people are still Oilers fans. There's probably more Oilers fans in Houston than Texans fans.
Yeah. And
so I think if they get good, people will start buying into it more. I think a lot of people got more into college football when that happened. They just gave up on the NFL. And I mean, it's like that happens in cities when they lose a team. They're like, I don't care about this anymore. You're going to take it away again. You're going to ruin it again. But I was young enough that I came in when I was still young when the Texans formed. So I'm like, that'll be my team. And I'll from the beginning be a fan of this team. But a lot of people just didn't do that. A lot of people are like, I don't want to suffer through this. So they didn't go for it. But I still, man, look, I still got an Oilers thing right over there. That's the Love You Blue poster. I still got Oilers stuff up too. It is one. You got your old Campbell jersey behind you. It is it's a sad piece, but it is what it is. All right. We're going to take our second break. We're going to come back and wrap it up here on a Monday edition of a 2-day week for us here on a Thanksgiving week on Open Gym.
Hi, I'm Hayden Covert. Welcome to Covert Buick GMC of Bee Cave, your home in the Hill Country for new and pre-owned Buick and GMC vehicles. With beautiful inventory arriving daily, including the GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500, and Buick Enclave, you'll be certain to find the perfect vehicle at an incredible deal. Our service department is also open for all your vehicle maintenance needs. Visit us today for a test drive. Covert, born and raised in Austin. We are professional grade.
Altstadt Beer, the best beer that you can find all throughout the great state of Texas. Y'all know I've been a fan of Altstadt for years now, and if you try it, I think you will be too. If you've already tried it, you know exactly what I am talking about. Altstadt is brewed locally in Fredericksburg, but available all over the state of Texas. So if you're tuned in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, it does not matter. You can find Altstadt at a local grocery store or liquor store. They've got a bunch of different brews, something for every beer drinker out there. The Lager, the Kolsch, those are their two flagship beers, both award winners. They are fantastic. The Altstadt Light sacrifices on calories but does not sacrifice on the taste. They've got great pills, tons of great seasonals as well. I'm telling you, one sip and you won't go back to the other beers you've been drinking in the past. It is the official beer of BK. It should be the official beer of you as well. It's Altstadt Beer. No impurities, no regrets.
Hey y'all, I'm Camille McKay.
And I'm Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations.
The old man and I are here to give you your summer weather forecast. It's hot.
That's right, kid.
Which means it's time for pool parties, grilling burgers, and taking a beach vacation, right?
Well, I don't know about a vacation, but Audiovisual brings more heat than any tropical destination.
It was worth a shot. I'll settle for some outdoor speakers.
You know, Audiovisual can do a lot more than that. We provide outdoor video screens, audio systems, landscape lighting, even solar shades for your patio to keep the Texas heat at bay.
Well, I'm sold. Let's wrap this up. I'm ready to lounge on a floaty and listen to some smooth jazz.
Well, that sounds wonderful, but some smooth reggae is the way to go this summer.
Good thing we can listen to both with the Sonos sound system. I call dibs on the floaty, though. Peace out.
Kid, wait a second. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us at avconsultations.com. That's 512-255-8678.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered, wrapping it up here on a Monday afternoon, Matt. Reminder, we're off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so we hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. We're back tomorrow, though. We'll talk a ton more about the Aggie game tomorrow since it will be our last day of the week, so we hope you join us for that. And then the pregame show with Bucky and BK will be on Friday. Let's get
in for that as well. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll be down there. I don't know if I'll be down there. We'll see. We'll see what Friday brings. Whoever knows. But yeah, we'll go to our meathead of the day here, Matt. This one comes from Colorado game this weekend, and someone's always got to be an idiot. There's a fan dancing on the field, running out, thinking he's cool, and down. He goes down, Matt. And if you'd like to see that a different way, here is a different shot of the Colorado fan getting on the field.
Nothing beats it.
And we see him. Rewind that. Colorado fan out there and then just takes him out at the hip. I don't know how that guy got all the way out there before someone finally was like, oh, go, I got to go get him. Because he looked like he was coming. I don't know how far away this guy was to come in there and just take a shot at him. But that's a great hit on him from both angles. That hit is just fantastic.
Just fantastic form tackling right there. That's exactly how they teach it, you know?
As we see here again, coming back, doing his dances, feels pretty good, does the Shedeur Sanders dances, all feeling good, and then boom, down he goes. Down goes Frazier. That is our meathead. Don't run on the field. Come on, guys. Don't run on the field. Don't be that. Oh, and let's start this disclaimer. If we beat A&M on Friday, you don't storm the field.
Nope.
Don't do it.
Don't.
Please don't do that. I look, I know we're saying you got to win and do it. You didn't do it against Vanderbilt. I was really worried about that Vanderbilt one. It's like, oh, I don't like it. But
you don't storm the field when you beat your little brother.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. You don't storm the field if you're Texas. Just really in general, you don't do it. So please don't do it. Tell your kids at Thanksgiving. that they're not invited to the next Thanksgiving if they storm the field. Everybody tell your kids that. It's very important stuff. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow getting into even more because we have a short week this week, but we'll be getting into it and a lot of great stuff coming up here on Open Gym tomorrow. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from Open Gym.